Shit. I was so close today. I was so close. So close. I thought I had it. I checked everything, guys. I checked almost everything. Almost everything. Anyway, all right, here we go. Oh, God. Someday I'll get better at this, maybe. All right. So yesterday was a good day. A very good day, actually. We're sitting at a fear and greed today of 51. 51. Yeah, don't laugh at me. Come on, guys. Be nice. But even though yesterday, I think by the end of the day, my portfolio was up by $600,000 or something close to it. I didn't do the final math, but it was really good. So it's interesting. Today we have PPI. PPI is coming in hot. We're coming in at 7:30 today. So about 30 minutes from now, we're already going to be jumping into some of these data points. Lots of data coming in this afternoon, too. We've got Japan, just a ton of data from Japan, Germany, Great Britain tomorrow morning, Canada, and then back to the United States. So there's going to be a lot of data points to be able to examine. We'll get into that a little bit later, though. I want to move on real quickly. Camera's lagging? I don't think that's me. Oh, is this stream jumpy? I hope not. That would be a shitty way to start off the day. Is anybody else having lag issues? Have you guys tried refreshing? Yeah, stream is choppy. Fuck. Let me try this. QQQ announcement? No, it wouldn't be today. Both were fine on your end. Whatever. Okay, whatever. Hopefully we're better. Can anybody confirm? If you were having issues, can you confirm that it looks better now? So we can move on? Better? Okay. All right, cool. Sweet. All right, that's a bummer. My VPN's been doing such a good job. I got this new one. But whatever. Whatever. I'm glad it's working. I probably killed it on X. Let me check real quickly on X and see if that one is down. But yeah, we got a lot to do today, guys. Lots and lots to do. That 7:30 news is probably going to be the biggest piece. Let me just check X super fast, and I'll just bring this over here and just make sure that it's not junk, the stream. I think it killed it, right? Yeah, it killed it. Or wait. Did it kill it? Are we back on X? I think it killed it. Yeah, X doesn't recover well. So I'm going to delete this post on X. So anybody that was watching this on X is going to have to come back over here. All right, good. I think we're good. Let me move this back over here. All right, back to it. That's a weird thing to get to. All right, so a bunch of stuff. So fear and greed sitting at neutral. Inflation PPI coming out at 7:30, roughly 28 minutes from now. We've got Donald Trump ringing the bell today. So we'll definitely, don't let me miss that. Bitcoin, we've got Dennis Porter making his strategic reserve announcement later today. Bitcoin miners, we're seeing HPC plays taking off. If we hop over here, it looks like MicroStrategy is back in the positive today. I think this is ready for launch. That also is the analysis we're getting out of the head crypto technician with FS Insight for the Fundstrat group. So they're thinking the same thing. But if we look over here, let me go back real quick. If we look over here, I'll just sort by miners. Actually, we don't even need to sort by miners. They're right at the top, I think. Well, it was some yesterday, and it probably will be again today. So, nope. I got to look at, I forgot. I got to do it this way. Let me bring this over to my screen and pop it in here. Sorry for all the technical issues today. So, HUT 8 today, up 23% on an announcement of a new location that they're building out. I think more for like the HPC type play. And then BitDeer is up to 10.3%, and Iron's up 5%. So we're seeing some of the Bitcoin miners that have the high performance computing play. They seem to be doing better again. So they're really rocking and rolling. So that's interesting. But again, I love it all. All of it looks good. We're seeing breakouts. We're seeing really strong bounces in the crypto world. And then we're also seeing really strong bounces from these HPCs in the Bitcoin related world. I love all of that. It all just means that we're getting, we're dialing down the risk curve and that we're getting more interested in a lot of different plays. So that's all good. Let's see who the losers are today. We've got TMF down, of course. I'm not even going to track that anymore. I don't want to do a 3x play of TLT. Just too much risk, in my opinion. TLT down 0.67. Loving that. I want to see it keep going down. SoFi down, BITX down, Square down, NVIDIA down. It looks like PayPal or Palantir's down 0.5%. DLO, PayPal's down 0.4. Just, some of the bigger caps getting hit a little bit today. Not really too much damage, though. It looks like the markets are pretty optimistic and they want to keep on going from what I'm seeing. Also, the FS Insight year ahead. Again, guys, that was great. I'm not going to show all of our boy FunStrat's work, but I will park it over here for a second just to talk to some of it. I'm not going to, again, show it all to you, but I'm just going to kind of give you a feel real quickly of some of the things that were covered on it, and it's a lot. A lot of great slides, too. I want to talk to some of it right now and just some of my thoughts on it. So in it, the year ahead, the report that they did yesterday, they said that they believe the S&P can go to 7,000 by the end of Q2. And then in the second half, based upon historical trends, and again, subscribe if you want to check them out, there's a much more likely than not chance that will end up going down, maybe to the 6,000 range in the S&P, and then back up to 6,600 by year end. I guess it says that in the title up here. But so they're basing that on historical trends. They're also basing that on the fact that we've went up 20%, the previous year, this last year. And history indicates that there's usually some kind of retracement. And so this is kind of the formula they're using as far as that time frame. They also indicated that Fed and Trump are strong tailwinds for the economy and just for things to continue to do better. They compared that to Truman back in 1943 and what they had done in order to be able to basically just kind of trying to increase efficiency, keep monopolies from taking over certain industries and sectors. And again, just lowering the budget. And they were very successful in a very quick amount of time. They thought that people are going to start moving from cash to bonds. That's great. That's what I'm talking about, right? So I love that. They said that they see expansion in EPS and PE ratios. Again, for the details, subscribe. They said it's going to be a stock picker's market in the future. I love that. That's a perfectly stable kind of stock market when you have a stock picker's market. And there isn't direct correlation where everything goes up and everything goes down. This is a lot cleaner. We covered that too. HUD up 21%. We'll go to some of that news in a little bit. Biggest risk, they said, were tariffs are too effective. But I think they're actually overcounting that risk. I think they're ignoring some key things that Elon said, where he's going to try and ensure that that there's less impact on the cuts that they make, where the cuts are butchering the fat, but at the same time, like if you're letting people go, you're not getting rid of their income for 2 years. You're basically sunsetting it over a period of time and then getting those people back in the private workforce. So I actually think there's a lot less risk with the Doge portion of things. And with tariffs, I think they'll be more strategic than people realize. So I think a lot of good things are going to happen there. But that was some of the high level stuff that was covered under the FS Insight group. Again, I love my subscription. Also, the head of the crypto side said that they believe, or the crypto and Bitcoin side said that they believe that I think it's called digital assets, right? That's the term now. They believe that MicroStrategy could do really well. And so I think I agree with that as well over the short term here. I think that's about it for just some of the quick news. We're going to go into more in a little bit here. Let me get caught up on comments, and we'll probably jump over. I will jump over to that HUT 8 news maybe just because it's moving so quickly. Where did I even put that? I don't even know where I put it. I want to cover this too. There's so many good things. Let's just start here. We'll find if anybody has the link to the HUD 8 news, throw it out. Otherwise, I'll look it up in a second. Umbisum, I don't know, kind of a weird name. I've been around for a while. I remember him back in the day. It says Bitcoin miners, my read on weeks long miners weakness relative to BTC. So he goes into thoughts. MicroStrategy announced their record 3 years, 42 billion raise, and just kind of why miners are weaker right now. I think they got MicroStrategy as competition. They've got people actively shorting them. There is a really great list, guys. We should look at that too. Let me actually see. I'll show you some of Sebastian Ski's work. Again, sub to this guy. He does a great job. I want to show you one thing here real quick. Let me see if he's got it. PDF, large, small. Let's go to large. So he's got a plethora of data that I would highly encourage you guys to check out. It's amazing. And let me see if I can find it in here. But there's one part where he's showing short interest on miners, I think. Worst case, you can see it from his video last night. Let me see here. Miners versus Bitcoin. He's got so many great charts, guys. You really got to check it out. Sats. Let's see here. There's so much data. Shorted. So again, I'm not going to show this stuff again. I just want to show you his work and what he provides. But if you guys are interested, again, right over here, percentage of average float shorted. He's showing, and he updates this stuff all the time. So BitDeer, Marathon, CleanSpark, TerraWolf. So, and if you look here, you can kind of see how some of these are getting pressure. Do I have the link? Yeah, I can get it. Let me get it here. Let me shoot it into here. And that's Sebastian Ski in regard to his Patreon, but he also has a YouTube, and you can find everything there. I love him as far as just pure data, 100% focused, Bitcoin miners all the time. He's also just a good dude. So I would definitely go to support him. But if you're ever curious on just a plethora of different statistics in regard to Bitcoin, the miners, whatever, I think he does one of the best jobs of anybody I've been able to find. So, and again, this is 100% his focus. I love James Investor Answers. He's like one of my favorite analysts out there. He's such a good dude. I was even chatting with him last night, but he doesn't have the just 100% focus on Bitcoin miners. So I think there's value to people that are incredibly focused on different things. So again, check some of that out too. But yeah, so we have so the miners are getting shorted heavy. We've got the introduction of MicroStrategy. He's got some other thoughts in here too. One of the things I loved, and you guys keep me on point with this, that I thought was very interesting, at least is maybe like some initial areas to sell and take a little bit of profit for safety purposes. But he had the CoinShares Valkyrie Bitcoin Miners ETF, and he was pointing out that if you go back here even to 2022, and again, this isn't like a full cycle, but at least for this one, that this top end appears, and maybe there's even a trend line here, I would argue. So like if we got up over here, you would want to maybe take some profits at some of your miners, and just to lighten up your cash load. So it might just be another good place to find targets and potential breakout zones. So I kind of like that one. Let me read a few comments here. Morning Crew says, Disease Kodak, what up, buddy? Toby171, Sebastian, quality metrics, very cheap to get the spreadsheet weekly, and great Discord and community. I haven't been a part of his Discord, but yeah, I love it. I think he's great. C-List, James seems like he's totally found his niche and is in the zone after a lifetime of work. He's such a great dude, and he's so good at what he does. I definitely agree with the niche. Mob74, yes, AP, they were talking about military ones, but think it's fake news, ? What military ones? Sorry, what did I miss there? Dario Ferraro, what are your top analysts like James that I can follow? Thank you. James is literally at the top of the list. And there's some other people that are really good with technicals and just in-depth thought in regard to the crypto space. But a lot of those are affiliated with James, and he has like a session where he hangs out with like Marty Party and a bunch of others. There's more too. The list is huge. I probably need to write it all out and rank it. I need to put some actual thought into it so I could get it to you guys. There's people that are good with technicals. There's people that are really great with macro. I love Blockworks macro. I love Future Guidance. These are on YouTube. Those are two of my favorite. They're just great. Jesse, do you have price predictions for CleanSpark been impacted by their current underperformance? I'm looking to be out of all my options at $40. I still think that's happening. Albert, Jesse, have your price predictions for CleanSpark been impacted by their current underperformance? Oh yeah, that was the same one. Yeah. So it is lower. I was thinking before maybe 100, but honestly, I don't think miners are getting there this cycle. They could. Again, there's going to be some stuff that's happening, guys. Q1, and this is what I'm trying to caution people towards, is Q1 into Q2. You're going to see much higher numbers for where Bitcoin's at, and for a change, the hash rate and difficulty will not have risen as much as we've seen the price rise, especially if we get to the 120, 130-ish range by beginning of Q1. That's literally a doubling of the Bitcoin price over that period of time. There's some companies that, especially the ones that have acquired a bunch of extra Bitcoin, that will be able to show some pretty strong price or some pretty strong appreciation on the assets that they're holding. I think that'll be huge. Let me go back here real quick, though. We'll get back into this. The shortest seller said, agreed, rising tide lifts all ships. If BTC continues to stay elevated, short seller clocks are ticking time bombs. So again, I think that when you look at the cost of energy, and oh guys, there's a free trade agreement opening up with Argentina. They're looking to do that with the United States. They have one of the largest reserves of natural gas on the planet. This was a country that was so rich in demographics and wealth and just natural resources that back in the early 1900s, they were saying that it was going to surpass America before they took down this, they went down this really dark socialist, consume everything into the government path. I think they're going to be a key contributor. He loves Javier Milei loves Donald Trump. I think you're going to see him work close with Donald Trump, and then there's so many other things going. I almost want to real quickly jump over to Argentina. I'm going to. I'm so excited about Argentina. And again, this is a play where the stock has run, like ARGT's run a decent amount already. So it's done. It's went up. But ChatGPT didn't work for hours yesterday. Really? They had an outage? I noticed that Meta announced an outage on X. That's kind of funny. But let's talk real quickly about Argentina, because I haven't covered it a lot lately, and I just want to go through it. This is a great video talking about how petrodollars could skyrocket Argentina's economy. But also the thing I want you to understand in that is we want much cheaper oil and gas, and we've got a producer of it that is amazing. So that could be. Just think about that. Argentina, we could literally help their economy, and they could get a huge boost from the United States. And at the same time, we could help. Sorry, the X stream died. The X stream died. Apologize for that. It was because of my VPN. My VPN was bogging down the thing, so we had to kill it. But yeah, so Argentina could be a valuable resource in those energy goals. People don't know this, but natural gas is like the number one form of electricity in the United States, and really, I think most parts of the world. There's still some that do a lot of coal, like China, but this is really important. This is really important. Getting the price of oil down even further with the help of these guys, along with cheap natural gas, I think is really important for pushing down the prices. Especially when there's an abundance of resource. It just makes the costs, the scale that they'll be able to produce, I think will be really beneficial. So I love that. And then this is great, again, right here. So let me just jump in. It says, Javier Milei announces he will change the law to make it possible for teenagers older than 14 to be sentenced as adults. They have this problem where the gangs in Argentina, similar to El Salvador, will have children basically commit murders and do other things because they can bypass the law. Well, they're going to have to start grabbing people in their diapers if they're going to keep that up. He's going very much down a play of what El Salvador did with Nayib Bukele, and I'm very excited about it. I think it's wonderful. We got about 12 minutes until that economic data, guys. Don't let me forget. But Argentina, so here, Javier announces new nuclear energy program for Argentina. Argentina will start building nuclear power plants again. Breaking, Javier Milei announces Argentina will be signing a free trade agreement with the U.S. next year. These are all from yesterday. Milei's economic miracle. Inflation crashes 90% in months. Argentina's Milei is delivering on his bold promises, slashing monthly inflation from a devastating 25% to just 2.7% through his chainsaw economics. The reforms are working. $20 billion in hidden cash is back in the formal economy. The notorious black market dollar gap is shrinking, and over 30,000 government jobs have been cut. The former TV star, economist turned president, who campaigned with an actual chainsaw, isn't just talking tough. He's making it happen. Despite the radical changes, Javier Milei's popularity keeps climbing, with polls showing over 50% support his turbocharged free market revolution. And again, there's so much. He talked, again, if you guys haven't seen it, the Lex Friedman interview was really, really great. And then this one, yeah, it's all just, it's amazing. It's all amazing, guys. There's probably another post that I missed in here too. Argentina just looks set to do really, really well in the future, and I'm super excited about that. Wonder what is going on with that AP, sorry, I don't know. Let me look. Our ARGT is run. It's done. You out. Not getting in soon. I just bought some yesterday. No, I actually think it could break out. I'm just saying it's run a lot already. But I do think that it can actually go up a decent amount too. Let me just jump in here real quick. I guess this isn't pulling from my chart. I should probably do that. Let me go here. And then again, we got about 11 minutes until the bell. Or not the bell, the economic data. But yeah, so it's run, right? Like it's run pretty good. And this thing gives dividends too. But it's run since about August of 2024. Very, 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 very far. So 50 to 87. So it's kind of done a little Tesla is all I'm saying. But look at this though. We did have consolidation and we are in a breakout zone up to the 90 level. And again, we're getting there super fast. So maybe we consolidate there for a little bit before going higher. But we're getting ready to reach like the banana zones, right? So Trump is ringing the bell today. You're right. That's going to be fun. We'll have to make sure we don't miss it. But yeah, so this thing's already run a decent amount. But I love the dividend. I love the story in Argentina. And again, if we go back, just go back a ways here, just to August of 2022, July of 2022, this thing was running at 24. Now it's running at 87. So again, this is kind of a steady Eddie investment, and I think this is like one of the purest play investments that has potentially high growth because of the small size of their economy and their total population and all their wealth and resources. I think has the potential to be a really strong asymmetric bet for a long time. And if nothing else, a steady Eddie that gives you dividends. And if this thing can go from, again, this pace looks like it's accelerating. If it can go, from 20 to 85, 400% gains in a period of a few years, it's just probably one of the best ETF wrappers you can get out there. It is, I think, right now, the best country-based investment ETF you can get. I don't think anybody's outperformed it. So it's just something I'm putting my money in. And what I was going to say is I think it's the best pure play on meritocracy and capitalism, because their economy has just been so devastated for over 100 years. And you have these people, you have people that are intelligent. You got this beautiful resources all around you, this beautiful country all around you that almost seems like a part of Europe. But now, moving away from all the garbage of Europe, that type of mentality, the socialist mentality, rob from the rich and make everybody poor. I don't know. I'm super excited about this investment. I really am. I have strong faith in Javier Milei. I think this is going to be it's going to be a multi-decade investment, in my opinion. MSTU, 10-for-1 split. Date 12/16. All right, good to know. I heard some people talking about MSTR, but I think it was the MSTU split that was really happening. All right, let's keep going here. Let's keep going. So anyway, that's my thought on Argentina. I still just love this place so much, guys. I have a lot of faith inside of it. Let's get back, though. Let's go. I don't even know if we hit the U.S. economy. We'll do that next, and we'll jump into other things. So Alexandra Mers, Tesla boomer mama. I love her. Nothing to do with the election results. Nothing at all. U.S. consumers are the most bullish on the U.S. stocks in history. So this is bar chart saying this. Probably saying it with like a little more of a negative tone, but whatever. I love these guys. They help me grow a lot bigger. But if you look here, expectations 12 months, hence stock prices increase. So look at the 12-month expectations for stocks. People are getting very, very excited about this current administration. And again, could that lead to, an overshoot? It totally could. But I don't think that's coming for a while because I think there's still a lot of really positive tailwinds behind us. That said, I am taking some profits, guys. Again, I've got over 400,000 in cash, 65,000 in TLT. I'm going to continue to take some profits as we melt up higher into this Santa Claus rally, which I called. I mean, I don't know, Tom Lee. Let's give Tom Lee the credit for it. But if you look historically, that's what's going to happen, right? That's what's going to happen with the timing of the year, just based on the holidays. That's what's going to happen after an election season. Matthew Smith, thank you for becoming a member, even though I think you kind of pretty much run the Discord. Thank you, sir. But yeah, so all this stuff, there's so many tailwinds. Whether you look at Bitcoin this time of the cycle, whether you look at the election, whether you look at the holidays, it's all of everything points to up, and it's going to be amazing. I did want to speak to this. So yesterday, somebody posted this. Let's see if Henrik responded. No. Why does that not surprise me? So anyway, So Henrik had posted, I think we keep going higher because of technological advancements are speeding up, blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, there's the stock valuations thing. Then I shouldn't say Henrik posted, but Sat Singh said, is it possible, Jesse, but no, I'm not concerned with the 2-month, 10-year spread or rising unemployment claims, as Henrik often references. So Henrik Zeberg was somebody who was talking about the great melt up. And evidently he has decided that that has happened. I know there's other people like Mortensen Bach that follow him and believe in his work a lot. I personally think it's shallow and lacks depth. So anyway, I was talking about stock evaluations, and he threw that up. So I responded with my thoughts on it. And so I just want to reference, because again, those are like the only 2 talking points I've heard from Henrik. So if there's more, let me know, guys. If you follow this guy and he's got more to the story, I want to know it, because we need to look at the bear cases too, right? We need to clearly be able to understand and articulate the bear case as good as we can, the bull case. We will talk about Tesla. That's definitely on the list, Austin. And thank you, John, for joining. Appreciate you. But anyway, so here's my thought on his view of the bubble, from what I understand his view to be, like 2 data points. So give me more if you have them. I said, am I concerned about the mother of all bubbles early next year? No, I'm really not. You have to weigh that against, when I said weigh that against, I was talking about the high valuations that they were showing up here. And then the comments about Henrik. I said, you have to weigh that against what we'll see with pro-growth policies, manufacturing in the USA, deregulation, lowering rates in December, the Department of Government Efficiency, what can be done with executive order, global liquidity trends, deflation coming out of China pulling down our inflation, and more. I go, don't get me wrong, tariffs will have some negative impact, but that should be greatly offset by the above. I'm sorry, but what is the actual argument for why all this is going to get worse? ? Because we won't find the future with the trend in short-term unemployment. Like basically, and I said near historical trends. What I mean by this is literally we're near what would have been considered full employment for decades. So we're still near these like really, really low lows. And again, even in the debt markets, all these things, you can see how the lower rung of the economy in the United States has had it rough, the bottom 30%. But I think that's getting ready to turn around for them. Inflation is coming down. And at the same time, wages are starting to outpace that. And then you have all the tailwinds from, deflation in China and their money printing that they're talking about doing. We'll see if it actually happens. Again, they've been kind of dry on the tap, guys, for the last month, 2 months. So they've been talking a big game, but they haven't actually done much of anything. And if anything, they're kind of constrictive. So we'll see if they do it. That could maybe slow things down a little bit if they don't. But I think they have to, or they collapse. So you'd think that would be a good incentive. But again, my whole argument here is that there's a lot more good than bad. I don't see the bad argument that everybody wants to push forward. And Henrik is saying stuff like the world is falling apart in Q1 and we're going to see the greatest depression we've ever seen in humanity. And I would love to have a conversation with him, because I feel like he's not looking at AI, robotics, autonomy, Doge, and he doesn't live in this country. And so he's not seeing things through an American lens and all the positivity. So I don't know. I think we got a lot in front of us. I'm going to have to disagree with the man. I would definitely be open to a conversation or somebody that understands his work really well. Matthew Smith, yeah, first time watching the stream, lol. Are you doing a YouTube only stream today? I am, because I had a VPN running and evidently it was constricting the channel and we didn't have enough bandwidth, so I had to kill the VPN. And X does not reconnect the same way that YouTube does for some reason, which kind of sucks. So yeah, YouTube only, unfortunately. Yeah, anyway, so that was just some of my thoughts there, guys. We're in the jet stream. Enjoy the ride, Kevin. Yeah, I agree. So anyway, here's another comment from me. It says the only macro-related reason I would find for that to occur is if Japan raises rates while the Fed is lowering rates on the 18th. That could cause some kind of scare. So again, me just talking about concerns. So this was off of, I want to say this first, bookmark this, crypto corrects on a day. 240 after the halving in both 2016 and 2020. We're on day 236. A massive drop can occur soon. It's not a good time to be in short-term trades. This post isn't a joke or sarcasm. I'm calling it now a drop in 1 to 2 weeks. Now, this could happen, but you can't really, if you're looking at like as a technician or somebody, a data analyst, it's hard to take 2 points of data and call it a trend. So I think that's a little short-sighted too. Or at least lacking in depth, right? Now, don't get me wrong, we could drop in a few days. We could have a melt up and then we could drop. I think that can happen. Again, the data on the 18th could suck. So look at this guy. Even this guy, there's people trying to pump and get you probably into something that isn't related to him. Oh, he's got 153,000. No wonder. There are bots in everybody's chat, man. You can't see them either, guys. I have a Discord, which I make available. You can find it on my profile at the top of my page. There's subscribing on YouTube and subscribing on X. Those are pretty clear. I do not have a Telegram. Don't give people money that pretend to be me. At least look for a verified check mark. If you're not looking for verified check marks on the people you're talking to, you almost deserve to get scammed. So please be smart and make sure you understand the handle for the person you normally talk to before you start sending them money. Okay? Please. Anyway, we got, the bell, the economic data. Here we go. It just came out. All right. PPI month over month, 0.4%. It was expected to be 0.2 and 0.3, so that's higher than expected. That kind of sucks. Core PPI, though, is lower than what was forecast and comes in line with consensus. So the core, the area that the Fed would actually most care about, is good. And again, even PPI month over month, and we'll look at probably the broader data. Let's skip some of that. We'll go further down the rabbit hole. Initial jobless claims, 242,000. That we were expecting 220 and 225. That's going to be seen as bad for the economy, maybe good for additional rate cuts. I don't know how the market wants to weigh that. Let's keep going through the rest. Continuing jobless claims, 1886. That is slightly higher than what we had previous. It is higher than consensus. It is higher than forecast. So again, it seems like so far the overall weight is more negative than positive, but negative could be perceived as positive because it could guarantee more rate cuts, and the market would love that. So it's weird right now, some of the dynamics. They could still be seen as positive. Core PPI year over year, 3.4%. Again, consensus 3.2, definitely adding to the negative territory. I would argue, though, that it's not the end of the world. If we look over here, yes, we're a little bit higher, but we know our new base is probably going to be closer to 3 for the inflation rate anyways. So I don't know that this is the end of the world. And again, it's kind of got to be balanced with the CPI we saw yesterday, too. Jobless claims, even though some people will say that PPI is like a precursor of what's to come for CPI. Bitcoin's pumping. See, I think this is technically, I don't know if it's pumping, but it's at 101.3. This is technically bad news so far, but it's also good news because it's bad news. It's a weird world. Again, jobless claims 4-week average, 224,000. We expected 219. PPI looks like it's still rolling. Food, energy, and trade is 0.1%. So, that's interesting. Maybe that's something people are liking too. So if you subtract food, energy, and then trade, this number actually looks really positive. Same with year over year. It's a little bit better than forecast. So kind of a mixed bag of nuts. But PPI year over year was 3%. They were expecting 2.6. So that is definitely just like at its base, a higher number. But again, guys, just look at PPI. Look at PPI throughout history. Look at this. Up here, the PPI, look how high it got. The markets hadn't even collapsed yet. Okay? The markets were still hitting all-time highs, and we were in the 10s. Yes, Trump ringing the bell. He's going to be doing that in about 57 minutes, 56 minutes. That's going to be exciting. So yeah, the data today, guys, it's more negative than positive, but I wonder how the market's going to spin it. Let's go over here. I want to hear, this is one of those few days where I mean, I always like listening to Rick, but let's listen to Rick and let's listen to the crew here on CNBC and get their take. I want to see if there's any revisions in the data or any nuance that I'm not able to quickly catch. So we'll go back a few here and see what our boy Rick has to say. Let me just go back here. Why is everything clocking? I don't even have my VPN on. What the fuck? All right, maybe I'll just, you know what, I'm going to refresh. Oh, that's what I got to do. I'm going to have to refresh a bunch of stuff because when I drop my VPN, I probably dropped the connection. So it's got to like re-authenticate. Let me go back here. Or maybe, I don't know. What's the mug of the day? Oh, it's pretty boring. Starbucks. Brought to you by Starbucks. I did get a new mug though, guys. I got my Tesla Christmas mug. I had free credits because of, people buying Teslas. That's one joy of it being an influencer of any kind. You get free stuff. That's really most of the only free stuff I get. But so that was like $30, I think. But then there was shipping, so I paid like $50 for this fucking Tesla mug. But like, again, most of it was already taken care of. Why is this not coming up? Why have you forsaken us, CNBC? Oh wait, this one has not. Oh, now it works. Of course. All right, let's go back. We want to talk to the man, Rick Santelli. I would love to actually have a conversation with this dude. Not gonna lie, I love him. All right, let's keep going. Let's get a little closer. Get a little closer. Get a little closer. Get a little closer.
Yesterday's.
There we go.
/TV.
Oh, 1 second.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. Rick Santelli here
I really
live
do
at
need a
CME
checklist.
HQ. Breaking news. The wholesale cousin to yesterday's consumer price index, the November read for the producer price index. Expected up 0.2, double that, up 0.4, up 0.4. That equals
Good
June.
morning.
To find a higher, you have to go all the way back to April of this year. Strip out food and energy as expected.
Good idea,
up
Matthew.
0.2. That's 1/10 lighter than the 0.3 in the rear view mirror. If we strip out food, energy, and trade, it's up 1/10. That's 1/10 light and 0.2 under where we were last month. Up 1/10 equals September. To find a lower number, you're going all the way back to unchanged in May of 23. Yes, May of 23. Now, let's take a step back and do
Wait a
year
second.
over year.
Whoa.
Not very good news here. 3% on headline year over year. That's a big jump. We're expecting 2.6, rear view mirror 2.4, 3%. We're going to be going back a bit. 3%, you have to go all the way back to February of 23 to find a higher number, and that was all the way up at 4.7. Now, if we look at year over year X food and
Trying to see if we
energy,
get anything
that's
good here.
3.4.
Doesn't seem to be
Also
too good
hotter
yet.
than expected. 0.3 hotter than the rear view mirror. 3.4 to find a higher number.
I'm just gonna-
242,000. That's a heck of a jump. We're expecting 220-ish. Rear view mirror 225. 242 would be the highest since the
could
first
be a
week
red
in
day.
October of this
We
year.
might chop
And
until next week
finally,
on Wednesday.
On continuing claims, 1,886,000, the 26th consecutive week above 1.8 million. And if we look at the number of 1.9 million, the last time we were there,
This
would have
isn't
been
scary.
November of 21. A few weeks back, we did have a few.
I want to point to a couple of things since he was talking. This is not a scary number on United States continuing jobless claims. It's just not, guys. This is lower than every point in history outside of the 1960s. Okay? So don't freak out about jobs data yet when we're looking at numbers that are at some of their lowest points since the 60s. Outside of this one area here, and in July of 2022, when we saw like the lowest levels because of stupidity with COVID and the fact that, a basic laborer could quit a job at McDonald's and go work at the Hardee's down the street or in Wendy's or whatever place and make, an extra $5 an hour. So outside of this anomaly, which should have never happened, this is some of the lowest recorded levels of unemployment in history. I want to make sure that people understand this and that you're looking at things from a broad perspective. And again, PPI year over year does look scary. It's higher than the number in June of 2024. But if we go back 3 years, it doesn't look that high. If we go back 5 years, it doesn't look that crazy. 10 years, okay, we're at the levels of the 2008, 2019 range. Those were decent years. And then we go back since the beginning of time, and it actually looks really normal. So just keep this in mind when you're looking at the data, guys. Things can sound really scary when you're looking at them from data point to data point. And again, we could trade down today. The data all in all looks more negative than positive. There's just some highlights that make it look kind of great because, again, now we're talking for sure. I mean, we kind of already were a December rate cut. But what will be interesting to see is if January all of a sudden becomes on the table. I would almost prefer for it not to be, but look at December. December now is 96.7%. So there were people still questioning that on CNBC as of yesterday. But I'd say that's pretty much a guarantee right now. And now we have a 20% chance of another rate cut in January, so almost 21%. So we'll need to keep our eye on that over the next several months and quarters as well. Let's listen, though. We'll keep going.
Few of those 1.9s, but they were revised out.
Now pull up the
After
stock market heat
all of
map.
that, and once again, warmer than expected on many of the metrics with PPI. Some of the month-over-month were a little light, so you're, of course, going to get the analyzing crowd. They're going to annualize this and come up with a lower rate. But after everything we did, we were at 429 and a 10, Joe. Before the numbers, that was up 2 basis points. We're basically at 428 plus right now. And if you look at
we'll definitely
what was
listen to
going
Trump.
on overseas, yesterday Bank of Canada cut. This morning, Swiss National Bank cut 50. They're down to only 50 now, 0.5%.
Yeah, and Canada cut 50. Like this, it's crazy what's happening right now as far as rate cuts. All this stuff will be stimulative, which is why I expect Q1 to be strong. And again, sales from retail guys heading into Q4, this is all good. We're seeing records all over the place. This is not... It's not bad, especially with all the optimism heading into the presidency. Don't think the world is falling apart right now, not in the USA.
The ECB at 8:15 Eastern also cut a quarter as expected, down to 3%. At 1 Eastern, we have the last of 119 billion in Treasury coupon supply in the form of 22 billion 30-year bonds. And as I said, the inflation was warmer yesterday. Today, markets seem to ignore it, but they didn't ignore it all day after yesterday's spectacular 10-year note auction, which should have pushed yields down. What did they do? They zoomed higher. You can only squeeze this inflation water balloon for so many hours before it seems to pop out in higher rates at some point. Today is the 4th consecutive session 10-year note yields have traded higher than its previous day's high yield. It's a lot of info there. Sorry about that.
I got to say, guys, you just have to focus on the Trump put. You have to focus on the fact that this data is not really that bad compared to historical trends. You have to focus on those things.
Got to give it all.
Don't let people scare you out.
To the viewers, Joe, back to you.
Rick, you retired warmer.
Yeah, you could be right, Dan.
You went back to hotter on these. Are these this is different than yesterday? This is more of a surprise.
Yeah, I think so.
You do. All right, thanks, Rick.
Yeah, I think that these year-over-year numbers and that headline number, those are sort of jumps. We're looking at just more than a tenth. I think that's very significant. But as we can see by the market, the PPI never extracts the kind of attention by investors in terms of trading markets as the CPI does.
Right. We're going to talk a lot more about this. Rick, joining us now for more on the inflation numbers. Sonia Meskin, senior economist on the economics team at UBS. A team. It's got a team. I don't have a team.
We're your team, Joe. We're your team.
Lindsay Rosner, head of multi-sector investing at Goldman Sachs Asset Management. Our own Steve Leisman, who I'm going to start with you, Steve, and I got a couple of questions. Number one, you told me don't panic about the CPI because the Fed combines PPI to get the PCE, and that could be softer today, and it isn't. It's not. So that's number two.
Pointing on national television, I was wrong. Is that
no? I'm saying you tried to make me feel better, and now I'm realizing.
I'm sorry, I could not make you feel better. This is a hot number.
No, and then number two, what if Fed futures? They should not cut.
They're not. They're looking right through this number, Joe. I'm looking at this number. I looked at it 8 times already in the last 60 seconds, and it's unchanged. In fact, it's a little bit higher at 96% probability of a cut in December, and unchanged, I'm going to do the math here, 68%, call it, for a cut in March, and that's higher than it was before. I'm trying to figure out, goods were up 0.7%. I'm trying to figure out why goods were up. I get why trade might have been up. I'm still trying to find that number. But
so to be clear, they're going to continue to cut rates at least in December, and the probability went up because of the fact that people are worried about the jobs-related data. They don't want the economy to be weak, and they could care less about PPI and CPI data, or at least not to the same degree, because they do believe that there's deflationary stuff out there. Whether people are wanting to talk about it or not, there's obviously deflation that's occurring, or at the very least disinflation in parts of Europe, and you're seeing that already in China, the biggest indicator I think of deflation on the planet. Whether they put it into official statistics or not, they're falling apart, and so again, you've got these things pulling down prices. People that know what's going on, that know the truth, they know that you can look right past that, and that we need to stimulate. And what I'm interested in is the 21% probability of cutting another 25 bips in January. That's fascinating. And again, now we're at 94.7. This is going to oscillate a little bit, but December is pretty much a gimme. I don't think anybody can question that anymore. And now, again, January is 22.3. So the odds of a cut in that time frame are only increasing.
But when the stock market goes up, the profits of investment banks goes up. I don't have a reason, Joe. I think there's reason for concern that there is some inflation in the pipeline. And I'm going to let our esteemed guest make some sense of this. And I'll try to find more data while they're talking. I'll shout it out while you're talking.
Sonia?
Wonderful. Well, I would say that from what we've heard, the core numbers are better than the headline numbers. And the Fed, of course, loves to look at the core. Food and
Yep, that's another thing. Don't forget that.
energy are volatile components. If you
Big
also,
jump in food.
right. So we would agree with you, though, like even though we expect in
So this is interesting. So the 2 years actually, again, dropping down. It's kind of doing what we expected it to do, right? And it's getting close to the support zone. 10-year creeped up slightly for the yield, but this is good. This is what we want to see. This is still like all heading down the right direction, in my opinion.
inflation to decelerate to 2% throughout next year.
I know
This
Trump
may
is
just be a
Time
bump in the
Magazine's
road,
Person of
which
the
we
Year.
had
How could he
expected.
not be?
One thing to point out.
It was either him or Elon Musk because of his influence on the election, but that would have kind of been a negative spin. Just everything going on with Elon. I think Elon's the Person of the Year next year because of the Department of Government Efficiency and everything that we're going to be hearing from Tesla. I think Elon's. So Trump and Elon, the dynamic duo, are going to be the Times Person of the Year for this year and next.
Out here is in the CPI numbers this week, we saw that food away from home prices were quite strong as well. And lodging prices were strong as well.
You know why, guys? Do you guys want to know? This is going to sound crazy. This is going to blow your gourd, okay? Do you know why food away from home and lodging are more expensive? Because everybody is out traveling and living their life and having a great time. If you're the top 2/3 of this country, you're spending money like there's no tomorrow because you've been hanging out with micro macro and you've been making a bunch of money and you're having a good time. I bought a $5,000 television. Did I need that? Probably not. Do I absolutely love it? Yes. Yes. I wish I would have spent even more because I love it so much. I want to know what the next one would have looked like. But anyway, I digress. My whole point is people are spending money. It's okay for prices to go up because your economy is strong. If that is the best argument a bear has, you guys are already dead. Again, Tom Lee thinks we're hitting 7,000 on the S&P, guys. Let's just jump over here real quick and look at that before we get back to her commentary. So I've been saying this for a long time. I got posts going back forever ago. I called this cup and handle right here, and I showed the measured move for it to the .618. And then I've had these targets, this channel right here, this channel, people like this channel so much, and I got to probably move it to monthly or even 2 months to have it make more sense. But people like this channel so much that I put out here that Tom Lee shared it out on multiple occasions. Look at this, especially when you do the 2 month. Look at how clean this channel looks. This is off a little bit on the bottom because of the scale. I need to move it. But essentially, this is the channel that we've been in going all the way back since after the great financial crisis. The best bear argument is for sure the weak job market. Yeah, you're right. Best unemployment on record going back to the 60s outside of what happened after the pandemic from people having too many jobs. If that's the best bear argument they have, they're still little bitches and need to crawl back into their fucking cave and hibernate for the rest of the winter. So I'll be happily make that argument. So again, if we look here over the last 15 years, this thing has respected the bottom of this trend. Again, overshoots, but very quick movement back to the upside. And just like multiple bottom touches, the top is ridiculously accurate. Look at this, all through here, all through here, all through here, all through here. Where do you think we're going next? This isn't rocket science, okay? We've got a parabolic move, and Tom Lee says in the next several months we could get to 7,000 right here and then have a retrace. I can't argue against that. I feel like he's using my chart. I'm kidding. Tom's got many charts of his own. But My whole point being is, like, again, the bear arguments suck. Somebody give me a good one. All I hear is shit. Somebody give me a good bear argument. I'll be happy to talk to it. Anyway, let's get back over here. Let's listen to the rest.
But what does this tell us? We think of food away from home in the CPI component is indicative of inflation trend, underlying inflation trend, which the Fed has tried various ways to extrapolate. And what we would say is, while we still expect inflation to decelerate in 2025, this does present an upside risk.
Lindsay.
Yeah, so.
Okay, I have to interrupt.
And I don't think it does when the economy is doing well. I just don't think it does.
For some reason, I've never seen this before. Finished consumer foods, crude, up 31% month to month, if I'm not reading this wrong.
Finished consumer crude.
I don't even know what that means, 31%, if that's a misprint or something.
Well, I read it if you don't know what it means.
Other things
dude.
are up 3%. I
Leastman.
get that that's hot.
Come on.
But this finished consumer foods,
What is that?
I don't know. But it's up
don't even know what
31%.
It's okay for me, a guy in his basement, to try and figure stuff out in real time. It isn't okay for Steve to do it and take up like time on their network.
Category is.
Come on,
I've
Steve.
never seen, there is no other number in here that's even double digit.
Well, you'd still cut.
I gotta
Lindsay?
say though,
I would say as somebody who doesn't cook, I can probably validate that number, that things that
I don't even want to look at my DoorDash bill. I don't even want to look at it. It's so much money. I'm sure it's thousands and thousands of dollars a month, just with DoorDash. And then I look at it and I'm like, wait a second. Did I just get, I'll buy something from like a cheap place. Like maybe you want just Dairy Queen or like something, some garbage, which I don't eat very often. But when you do, it's like, oh, the cheeseburger, the McDonald's cheeseburger, like maybe $4. Like if you're getting it from Dairy Queen, maybe it's 5 or 6. And like the prices are outrageous, but I still do it because I get lazy and I'm busy. And I see tons of that. I think that's happening all over the place. Are you guys eating out?
come packaged and arrive at the house and go in the microwave are up. I think that's fair. Whether they're to that degree, I can't attest to that. But we very much believe that the Fed wants to cut in December. They want to get a nice round number of 100 basis points behind them. And we've very much been in the camp that they probably go one more time in the first quarter and then they pause. Pausing from all the data we've seen today as well makes it make sense that they need to take a beat, take a breather, and see where everything is. We absolutely have a cooling labor
that's
market.
legit.
We have inflation that's going in the right direction. I'd be remiss if I didn't highlight that OER made some serious progress yesterday, and that is really important. But there are going to be these moves in volatile components, and that's just something that's part of this process. So we don't think today's number, haven't torn through all the details, but today's number really upsets the apple cart. December should be a lock. And then we think likely there's going to be one more cut of 25 basis points in the beginning, and then they're going to wait. And that gives them a beautiful moment to wait.
Oh, God,
and see
that would be so much
how
money,
policy
Joanne.
evolves.
So I said, wow, big jump in claims and hot inflation. Neither one of those is good, but you had a reason for both. You told me not to worry, right?
Yeah, we would agree that the Fed is probably going to go 25 basis points in December, so next week.
That's probably a good idea, Firestorm.
That said, when will they pause? Because they've already started talking about pausing, right? And these numbers do not necessarily shed additional light on potential pause next year.
Steve, you got my PC?
I think we most likely get a pause. I don't think we move in January. Whether we do it in March, I don't know, but we don't do it in January. I think we leave the rates alone for at least a month. I think that's the smart thing to do, because you give the bears their opportunity to be right too, and you don't look crazy if you continue to lower in the future based upon the data. You look like you're actually taking it moment by moment after making a really big initial move in a direction you have high conviction in. So I do agree with that. Somebody said, why would you sell your Tesla calls and not exercise them? It's because I usually do a combination of both. I'll be selling my calls, my long calls, and then I'll be buying some stock, and I might leave some in cash. I might buy something else. So it's just nice and easy and clean for me to do it that way.
The number yet? Did you?
I don't have it, but it's going to be. No, I can't. But
I love that, and I think this actually is like. This is representative of a lot of things, but this is really a cool story too. Joanne Johnson said, Christmas, I did buy my hubby his dream Rolex because of you. I never dreamed that I would do something like that. first off, that's freaking awesome. I'm kind of a watch guy too. I don't have a Rolex because I'm too cheap. But you think I'd be able to buy one with 6.3 million? But anyway, I digress. But yeah, that's such a cool thing to do. And I think that there's a lot of people though that are in the same boat. I'm not the only person making money. Anybody who owned Palantir made a ton of money. Anybody who owned Tesla, anybody who's owned Bitcoin, maybe not so much in the miners this year, but plenty of other things, MicroStrategy, tons of investments, Meta, like all these different things, have done really, really well. And so you've got an economy where, again, the top 2/3 that own assets have really benefited a lot. And then you're going to have the real estate market firing off in the spring with rates continuing to drop. You can already see that in a lot of the data. You can see how it's starting to tick up and people are getting excited because all they want to know in the real estate world before they refinance is the direction in the future going to be down? And if it's going to happen slow, I'll refinance now, or I'll go buy my house now, and then I'll refinance it later, maybe a year from now or 2 years from now, when we're back in those 3% levels for our neutral rate, and maybe 4s for mortgages. So I think that if nothing else, low 5s. So I think that that's what you're going to see. You're going to see people get optimistic because they're going to be looking down the road and they're going to be seeing what's coming.
That's why you can't throw this number out, because about 40%, am I right, guys, of this number will fold into the PCE that the Fed will use. This will cause it to be higher.
Because you told me the PCE was much lower than the CPI.
I told you it was supposed to come in according to consensus.
I was not supposed to worry about 2.7.
It didn't come in that way.
You said it's more like
didn't come in that
much
way.
closer to the target, the PCE.
It should have been and should be, just for information. Becky, this is fruits and vegetables. Up 31%. And it's not something I've looked at that much, but there are times when this thing spikes crazy, this particular thing. I don't know how much.
There could be some weird anomaly that occurred where like maybe all the oranges in Florida froze. Whatever. We'll let these guys figure this out. I'm kind of bored with this conversation. I am watching CNBC down at the bottom here to try and make sure. Oh, and I probably didn't turn on my monitor. God, I need a checklist. Guys. I need a checklist. I need to fix this stuff. But yeah, so let's look real quickly. I want to see how the market's kind of reacting to all this stuff in pre. So let's get over here. Do pre-market. And Tesla down 1%. NVIDIA, a lot of things that were doing really good. Large caps, NVIDIA, Adobe. Woof, Adobe got crushed. What kind of news do we have on them? What is the news with Adobe? They got crushed. What is this? Let's see here. These stocks are moving. 3 minutes ago. Adobe is maintained at a buy at Jefferies 24 minutes ago. Adobe is maintained as an outperform. Adobe is maintained as an outperform. Adobe is maintained at a buy. Wow. So they got a lot of... Why is it down so much, though? 9 minutes ago. Technology stocks fell. So I don't know. Maybe it's... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why this is down so much. If you guys know, it's down to the 200 moving average in pre-market. So this one got hit pretty good. No idea where that came from. But yeah, otherwise, though, it looks like the market is taking a little bit negative. It's their earnings. Okay. Weak guidance. Okay. So even though the analysts, said outperform and it's a buy, people don't like the forward guidance. Okay. Gotcha. See, this is great. This is why our community is so wonderful. If I haven't seen their earnings, you guys have. I love that. Yeah. So anyway, we're taking a little bit of hit in the morning. Let's look at the crypto sector and see how we're doing over there. The day, wow. Really? So the week is still negative, though. These things are down a little bit. Well, a decent amount of them. But again, when you look at the month, things are still good. I think XRP, let me check out. Let me see how I did on calling the top of XRP. Let me see here. Just want to see. Some of these I miss. Others I don't. Adobe CEO is horrible to listen to. Oh, is he? I've never heard him. So this actually looks good still. It still looks good. Again, this is a lot of the market. I was pulling up render. So this is exciting, actually. I think I called the top, and it went down far. I mean, it went down to, where did we go? We went from almost $3, $2.93, down to $1.89. What kind of drop is that? That's a lot. So this went hard, like all the altcoins. This thing dropped 34%? Are you shitting me? So this thing dropped by a third when nobody was paying attention. But that happened to a lot of the altcoin market. If I even look, but this looks good. This looks good for a continuation. We hit this. We didn't even get, I mean, we got to this, but we just barely got to it. If you look at the previous trend on what the high was. And again, we're kind of over here trying to find this level of support too. And if we go to the monthly, let's look at what that looks like, because that's a really helpful move. So again, we dropped hard, right? Like all the way down to here. But look, that's where we got past the wick and into some actual candle body with some volume. I got to say, XRP looks good. And this is not just XRP. This is what gives me a lot of excitement about where we're headed as far as markets being risk on or not, is just a quick glance at the altcoin sector. Look at this. Previous trend line. This was a resistance line. And then if we look over here, it turned almost perfectly into support. Look at this. I don't change this stuff all the time. It didn't hit it. So it was even higher. It didn't even make it. But it had a big wick. It dropped probably pretty far too. 266 all the way down to 204. These are volatile markets in the shitcoin world, guys. So anyway, so it looks like it tried to do its back test. It didn't even get down to the fib. With this kind of wick underneath of you and the candle body we're starting to form, this looks like a continuation pattern. It doesn't look like it wants to slow down, guys. It looks like it wants to go higher. So and it's not just Solana. It's not just XRP. It's like everything. It's everything. Let me pull one up. Render. This is one that Render OG will appreciate. He loves this company. And I do pitch a few things. I just don't want to be like the shitcoin guy. So, but anyway, look at this. I mean, look at this. Look at this. This wick was all the way down here. We went from 12 all the way down to 780 and then bounced hard as can be all the way up to 970. This is a bullish continuation pattern too. Again, it got over here, guys. It got right over here where it had where it previously started, where it was support here, where it was, it couldn't even make it as resistance here. And so it did a nice back test of the fib and then this previous price action. And now it looks like it wants to continue. So I don't know. Here's what I think today. And I'm usually pretty right. ARB, yeah, we can look at ARB. I think I have. I need to get so much. I still haven't done anything I talked about doing with the ARB, with all these cryptos that I have in the Discord. I got to do that this weekend. I've been neglecting you guys so much. Luckily, we got people like Matthew Smith and Admin Wife and others. So ARB looks like it's ready for a breakout. You got peak volumes here. I don't actually have this set up right now, and I don't know if this is the best. This is USDT. I don't know if this is the best. Maybe there's a better time frame. I'll just do this. Let's do a trend-based extension on this, and we'll save it. So let's just assume that this is the best chart. It might not be. I might need to look at this later on and make sure that I've got the one with the longest time frame. Binance is usually a pretty good one because a lot of shit coins go on there at a fairly, decent amount. This is interesting. This is a great looking chart. So look at the wick down that we had. How much of a drop was this? So this is it's like all the altcoins that Tom Lee was talking about, how markets have kind of been trading in tandem with each other for a while, right? Like all the large caps go up together, all of them drop together. So again, another 1/3 drop, 31%, about right. But look at how much this thing's come up in a short period of time. And it's touching up against the .618, which is also perfectly on peak volumes. This thing is just poetry. And up 24% if you would have bought that dip. This is like what I said, guys. The markets will teach you to buy the dip until there's no dip to be bought. And I think ARB looks great. Let me do this. I'm going to just, if any of the admins are here, I'm going to dump this into chat. So that's the shared link. So if anybody wants to add this, if you're an admin, this might be the easiest way. Let me know if this works, Matthew, or any of the other admins. If this works, I could just do this and say ARB. And I should probably put that at the beginning of it. And then if you guys add them in there, because I've been so horrible about doing it. Render OG, been buying Render since March. I won't sell it till you say we're almost topped out. Yeah, I don't think that's happening right away. I think we got a ways to go. Matthew Purdy, 640 million XRP were moved within 12 hours yesterday between Ripple affiliated wallets, prepping for RL, USD, in my opinion, rocket soon. It's such a big market cap. I just wouldn't get too excited about it. It's already but it can go up. It looks like it's going to go up. I want to shit on it just to trash on the XRP army, since I just hate these cult groups. I hate them. I really hate cult groups. It's not my jam whatsoever. But this thing is rank 4, so it is just behind. If we look at market caps, whoa, something got weird. You can see Bitcoin over here. Let me kill this too, because we don't need to hear the chat. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana. And so it's ahead of Solana right now for market cap. So I think you're going to have limited upside for it. I really do. But I do think it's going up at least another rung, man. It's going to rock. Oak had 5K. I just think it's going to underperform Solana and other investments this cycle. Oak had 5,000 in my emergency fund, and I put 2,500 into Sui at $2, and 2,500 into Render, and the Render is about doubled. I did a little research before the buy because of you, and wow, yeah, thank Render OG. He was annoying the shit out of me in chat, and eventually he got me. He kept posting things, and then I watched a video by one of the creators of Render, one of the people that's affiliated with it, and he is one of the most brilliant people I've ever looked at as far as, oh, hey, dude, Trump. One sec, guys. 1 second. We'll get back to it. This is going to be something we got to hear. 1 second. Let me go back.
Problems in the world. Before the election, you won't like it.
Sorry, I didn't realize this.
President-elect Trump does look to the market.
Sorry, I didn't realize this was going.
President Biden, or maybe any president, in terms of
Here we
at least
go. We're getting ready to start.
way to
I want to
judge
see it
his
from the
own
beginning.
progress. I can remember that from his first term. We would occasionally even see tweets at the time that were very similar to what we might be discussing on air at that very moment.
Are we getting the Trump pump today?
And so he does pay close attention.
Thank you, Matthew. If that works, dude, I'm just going to start doing that.
But to your point, Jim, 20,000 NASDAQ, I mean, you're going to, the question, of course, we keep entertaining with all the various strategists and other people who have various titles is, well, what are we going to see this coming year? Can we continue that momentum 3 years in a row?
Well, I think that what we saw from President Reagan in that great quote, it was an amazing time when he came here, which is let the bears be on this.
Well, thank you very much. This is President-elect. Tremendous honor. I brought some of our compatriots along with us. They're going to do a beautiful job for you for the next 4 years. And
look at that
it's
crew,
really been
guys.
Something
Robert
very
F. Kennedy.
special, and I have to say, Time Magazine getting this honor for the second time. I think I like it better this time, actually, because, but we did a good job.
I used to
We had a
hate
great
this
first
guy.
term,
So weird.
despite
Now I
a lot
love
of
him.
turmoil caused unnecessarily. But the media's tamed down a little bit. They're liking us much better now, I think. If they don't, we'll have to just take them.
I got to say this, guys, even if you don't like Trump, like, again, I used to hate him. I used to hate him because I thought he was evil because I looked at mainstream media all the time and got my 30-second clips. But even if you don't like him, doesn't he seem so much more confident, so much more happy, so much more like a grandpa father figure that's just kind of, he's going to make it happen and he's going to enjoy the ride? It just doesn't seem like the same guy.
Come on again, and we don't want to do that. But I do want to thank
More
Time
humble.
Magazine.
I
I've
agree.
been on the cover many times.
And he's surrounding himself with greatness.
I can only probably talk well about 25% of the covers. 25% are great. The others I just sort of hide. But it's been an honor, and every time it's an honor, I will tell you. And thank you very much for doing it. And thank the whole group at Time. Really very professional people. Thank you very much.
I will say this, young investor, Trump was such an unstoppable force in 2016. No, man, I think he fucked up real bad. He selected all the wrong people. He openly admits that. He didn't know anything about being a politician, so he worked with a bunch of rhino Republicans to try and establish who should be in all these different roles. He didn't know what to do. This time, he's been through it. He knows who's not his friends. And he has established some of the most brilliant people, some of the most highly respected people, in my opinion, in politics and in tech, like Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, even J.D. Vance, Robert F. Kennedy, all these people. All of them are just amazing. Tulsi Gabbard. There's so many good people, and all these appointments too. They're brilliant, and I think they have such a mandate that they're going to do really, really well. And this guy is a different guy. You can't discount him. Even if you don't like him, you got to realize what's coming. He ain't fucking around, and either is Elon Musk. And Elon Musk has his child reciting lines about how he's going to help save America, and he's going to help Trump. So trust me, he's in. And don't bet against Elon Musk. I hope you guys know that. I agree, VR. I agree.
And to Jeff and all of the people from the New York Stock Exchange, he knows how much I like it because
I used to think people that said do your own research were a bunch of fucking nut jobs. Now I am one.
many years ago I bought a building across the street. I wasn't going to buy it. Then I said, you know, it's right next to the New York Stock Exchange. I'm going to buy it. We've had great success. 40 Wall Street, we've had tremendous success with it. But you've really had success with the New York Stock Exchange. It's an incredible group of people. And Jeff, you have done an incredible job, you and your group, and what a beautiful speech you made. Thank you very much. That was some introduction of all of us. But we've gone up since the election. I was just told by Scott, everybody said you have to pick Scott Bessent. He has to be the one chosen for Treasury. Where is Scott? Let's see. He's around here someplace. He's around here. He told me we picked up $3 trillion since the election day. And I said, well, that's good, but what about before the election day? He said, we picked up some money there because they thought you were going to win. I said, I like this guy. He's going to be my Treasury Secretary.
There you go. You win.
But it's true. I think we're going to have a tremendous run. We have to straighten out some problems, some big problems in the world. When we left, we didn't have any of these problems. We didn't have Russia with Ukraine. We didn't have Israel October 7th.
Sorry to interrupt Trump here. Albert said, yes, it's been reported that Elon spent a lot of time in Mar-a-Lago, even annoyed some of the Trump's closest people for how long he's been there. Dude, he's literally in family photos. He is so connected with these guys. These guys, they have a love of their country. Trump is very real about that. You can go back 20, 30 years. You can listen to this man in the 80s talking about how much he loves this country and how he wants it to be strong. That's not fake in any way. Okay. It's been his mantra his entire adult life. And, and Elon Musk very much loves and appreciates everything that America has afforded him, and what it represents to the world. You best believe mainstream media is trying to make it look like, oh, they're going to break up. They're going to break up like the Kardashians or some shit. That's not going to happen. They don't realize what the bond that has been forged with everybody that was a part of this campaign and how real it is and how transformational it's going to be. In your investment career, you better find the truth. In politics, normally you can just gloss over it because it's worthless and it has very little impact and number go up, and you can be very disillusioned by it with good reason. But this is changing history. It's important to know when history is changing. Again, anybody can show you, oh, hey, this is between the two lines and there's a pattern there. Anybody can show you that. What they can't show you is when there's a generational shift occurring in the world around you. But you have to look towards that stuff. This time can be different. There's a reason there's a saying, oh, this time can be different. And I get it, but that's why you have to look at stuff like this and understand when it actually is. And if you don't incorporate that into your thesis, and you're like Henrik von Zinzenberg, whatever his name is, and you don't realize the shift that's happening, and maybe he just can't do that. Maybe he can't do that because he doesn't live in America and he doesn't understand what's going on here and how much people want to love their country here. And they want to see it prosper on both sides. And so you're seeing things in a political spectrum that are amazing to me that I've never seen in my lifetime. And that could be going back to what we saw with Truman in 1943. So, again, a lot of people are probably going to gloss over that because it hasn't happened in 80 years. But I'm not. And honestly, I think that this hasn't ever happened in the history of this country, what we're getting ready to see right now. Again, understand the massive waves in the things that change. Did I just hit the wrong button? Let me go back. Hopefully it doesn't screw us up in our place. Son of a bitch. All right, we'll get back to him. My bad. All right. We'll just start in some random place. But I want to reiterate that, guys. I want to reiterate that things are changing that we've never seen, okay? Know that. Understand that. Understand the depth of it. Jesse, I can your podcast on my iPad, but not my PC. Any particular reason? I'm not sure. It's YouTube. It should work on your PC. I have no idea. Mike Lauk, business minds and politics has never happened at this level. Never. We've never seen this before, guys. So if you have this theory based on Elliott wave analysis or the unemployment number, like Henrik's probably running a victory lap today because he's excited that the unemployment is still at the lowest levels it's been since the fucking 60s. And he's going to think that he's right. Okay? He's going to think that he's right, but he's not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And the hope that they will bring and the speed and the way they tackle these things to offset potential risks to benefits are going to blow the minds of people. I strongly believe that. And I think even Tom Lee, I'm going to call it here, and you guys hold me accountable. Somebody take a clip. I believe that Tom Lee is going to, again, maybe be right about the 7,000, right about the melt up, right about it, maybe a break starting to happen. But I still think crypto and Bitcoin melt up into the end of the year. And I still think that it's going to be a stock picker's market where you can still see melt ups. It just won't be in all the same places that it's been. But you got to remember, we've got all this passive investing funds. We got news I need to go over with that. But the big guys are still going to go up. And we've got M&A right now, guys. We're going to see deals closing. We're seeing talk of IPOs. We're seeing VC get excited again, venture capital. We're seeing a great resurgence in America that people have, I don't think, ever seen in my lifetime, in the lifetime of people much older than me. Maybe they were kids when it happened. I don't think they've ever seen this. I can't emphasize that enough. One sec, I better get the mute off. Can't even hear him. Let's fix that.
And we have one product that nobody has really to the extent that we do. It's called oil and gas. There is no country.
Argentina does, and they actually are doing free trade with us soon.
In the world that has more. We're number one. I brought it to number one during my first term in terms of production. We're going to be number one plus. We'll do numbers that nobody will really see before. And when that happens, prices are going to start coming down because people can't afford their groceries, and they're going to be affording their groceries very soon. I tell the story about a woman an old woman, no money, went to a grocery store, had 3 apples. She put them down on the counter, and she looked, and she saw the price, and she said, "Would you excuse me?" And she walked one of the apples back to the refrigerator and came back to pay for the 2 apples. And she left with 2 apples. And the woman at the counter said that was so sad. And when I heard about the story, I said that should never happen in America. And it's not going to happen in America. We're going to do it right. And we're going to take care of our people. And we're going to do things that nobody ever thought even were possible. But we're going to have an economy the likes of which nobody's ever seen before. And everybody's coming back to America. I saw that the other day at the cathedral. They're all saying, we want to come back. We want to come back.
Oh, dude.
And with a couple of changes.
I don't know if he's going to talk about it, but again, spending over $1 billion, you can basically get expedited approvals and regulation, even the EPA related stuff. Wow. Wow.
Done by Howard and Scott and some of the great people up here with me. We're going to bring them all back. They're all coming back. So thank you very much. This is a great honor, and ringing the bell will be fantastic. And go out and get them. We're with you all the way. Thank you very much.
Wow. That's awesome. I'm so excited.
That is the president-elect, surrounded by, as you saw, RFK Jr., Scott Bessent, the incoming First Lady, Vice President-elect Vance. He's going to make his way down to the podium where we are. Ring the opening bell here. Jim, I think he said the word incentive 3 times.
Yes, I mean, look, I think that there's...
I want to hear what they're saying
there's
for a
still
change.
Carrot and stick here, but obviously the carrot getting a lot more robust. And I think there are a lot of companies that listen to that and say, you know what, we ought to do something. Maybe we get breaks from this president. By the way, David, not connected with the environment. It's just bring workers.
Well, the idea of incenting in terms of permitting.
Yes.
You invest.
All right, real quickly, guys, I want to show. So somebody was asking about CleanSpark. Engineer who tipped $5. Thank you very much for that. He said, hey, looking at CleanSpark July 2025 from RH Simulator with a theta decay, it goes to 40 if they return the same holdings. Sure. So why do it? Like, you're not going to get, you're going to get basically the same return. I don't know which calculator you're looking at. Here's what I'm looking at. And I believe, so you got to think about timing too. And this is also what I got for my cost basis. My price per option is 181. Currently, these things are sitting at 260. So I'm still up almost 44% on these calls, right? So I'm already doing pretty good. But if you look over here, let's say by, I think maybe March, April, something like that, February, March maybe, we could see that $40 level if I'm right about that. If I'm right about that time frame, and again, the time frame is important. If it's May, it becomes less. But if it happens in February, March, I could make $2 million, 800% off of 200% in returns. So no, this is like a 4x multiplier for me. Versus the underlying asset, if it does what I think it can do in the time frame I think it can do. Now, if it's lower, again, it's like 473 out of 155, so it's about a 3x return. If it's further out into March or May, as long as we get in the 30s and 40s, it's at least a 2x versus, a 3 to 4, depending on how high it could get. So no, I think it's pretty good with my cost basis. Now let's switch this though to the cost basis of what we're talking about today as of this morning, the last read I have at 2.6. So 2.6 could be a little more iffy. No, it's still roughly a 2x, the underlying. I would use optionsprofitcalculator.com. I don't know this other site you're talking about, Engineer, but this one has treated me really, really great. We've got about 10 minutes, guys, until the bell. And let me just look over here real quick. PPI year over year. Yeah, again, so we don't have really any other data today. So we'll have stuff coming tonight out of Japan. We'll have Germany. We'll have Great Britain tomorrow. And then we'll have Canada and the United States. So we got more data coming. I think one of the biggest things, I don't know, maybe we chop sideways for a bit. I think we're still going to gradually push higher. And maybe that happens later in the day. But I think we're going to gradually push higher. And then I think we end up breaking out next week if we get past the 18th and we don't have weirdness with the Japanese yen carry trade. I don't hear anybody talking about that. I don't even know why. Always learning. Jesse, last night I sat down to figure out the ROI on following you on X YouTube Discord. So far it's about 309 1,000 100%. Yeah, that's a lot. 400x, not exaggerating. Thanks, man. Dario Ferraro, you can check AMD. Yes, we can look at AMD. Nick's AI, Trump pump. Yeah, I agree. And Henry, thank you for becoming a member. It looks like, if I'm looking over here too, we got a bunch of people. They're doing a bunch of videos showing these guys walking around, talking to Jim. And real quickly here, I'm going to let that play a little bit. I'm going to grab my coffee and take my pee break real quick, guys. So I'm going to let this play. I'll be back in less than 5 minutes. Give me a second. Bitcoin, guys, I got to say, if you look down in the bottom right-hand corner, looks ready for launch. I still think we're very much in a launch day. Again, bad news, sometimes good news. Be right back. Give me a couple minutes.
Can you really do that? I mean, isn't there an obstacle to all that?
I would assume there are still at the state level and any number of other things that might make it more difficult. But there's certainly, I think, an embrace in the business community of the idea of some deregulation. And I think that's been reflected to a certain extent in certain stock prices as well since the election. But that's certainly part of why I think a lot of the investment and business community is supportive. It's the idea of deregulation. Antitrust, we've talked about so many times. He didn't discuss it just now, but he did come back to a lot of the themes that he was hitting consistently during the campaign itself. Oil and gas, I continue to sort of question, Jim. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, given we know the incentive is to keep prices at least to a level where you can make real money, and these companies, especially the biggest, want a return, and their shareholders want a return of capital.
They wrecked pricing during the previous administration. His previous administration, pricing went down, and then Biden came in. Now, there are legendary stories about Biden completely shafting everybody in the oil and gas business. We're just saying, listen, we're not taking your call. We're not interested in you. Those people have done a 180. Actually, there are a lot of people who were quite silent during President-elect Trump's run, who now are very much on board. Very interested.
You mentioned
how it works.
Mentioning a fella named Zuckerberg, maybe? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, I don't know. I don't know his politics, but I'm just saying that suddenly every business person is saying it's a brand new dawn.
Meta today did say they donated $1 million to the inaugural fund. He actually breaks a lot of news in the Time interview, Jim. He says they're going to look at ending childhood vaccinations, depending on what RFK wants to do. He's asked about war with Iran. He says, quote, anything can happen.
Well,
says that he's not averse to using the military to round up and deport militants in this or migrants in this country.
Well, I continue to believe that the news flow is, let's say, erratic when it comes to business, and yet the embrace remains as the president detailed when he talked about the run that the average have had between when he was elected and now. But David, all the things that Carl just mentioned are things that make it so that you understand there's a level of uncertainty that people seem to be reluctant to talk about. Now, we're talking about today stagflation and a hot PPI.
Yeah.
But there's uncertainty that I've been saying about the Middle East that just, I don't know where things go.
No, we don't know. I think most of the uncertainty, though, that I hear about in the business community comes back to what we discuss at this desk often, which is tariffs and how extensive they will be and how deep they will be, and to Carl's point just now, the deportations, and again, how extensive they will be and how deep they will be. Inflation. Exactly, and that will impact inflation, and it will be something we discuss a lot. It's impossible to know at this point. In other words, if you deport just the criminals, that's one thing. 1 million workers, 5 million. If you get up from there, now it's going to take some time. You're talking about agriculture, meat processing, housing. There's a lot of potential impact, and wages could go far higher.
Right. And look, Janet Yellen was talking yesterday about the problem of tariffs. I'm not sure where the president's coming right now, but the problem with tariffs is that I watched someone say the other day, you know what, they're as high as Smoot Hawley. And another person, well, what is that? Well, when we were studying the Depression, one of the proximate causes what giant increases in tariffs, but everyone's forgotten because that was 100 years ago.
Although Deutsche today takes a look at when the U.S. historically has reindustrialized post-Civil War, tariffs can be constructive. They can. If in fact that's what we're.
Oh, we're already talking about tariffs being constructive. Are we? Have we gotten there already? Do people have a positive? Is that the spin? Is that what we're spinning today? Is that the narrative over the next weeks? Is that tariffs are going to be positive?
Do it.
Look, Alexander Hamlin, go back. I mean, that we had to do it. But this is a different time because we can't.
I'm looking at everybody here. We got Bill Ackman here. We got David Solomon. They're all showing up.
Well,
Jane Fraser, Frank Visignano is taking over.
Everybody's here.
Security.
John Waldron's
here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you see,
Waldron's over here.
See, a lot of those people they've gotten jobs. A lot of other people are.
They're just coming to wave. They're going to come wave the same way we are. You guys all want to come up, have a conversation?
Yeah. What do you got? Why not? Let's break some news.
Yeah.
Cornell, Target.
This is awesome.
Stock's been hurt. You get 137 higher.
But yeah, I mean the business community, to the extent a lot of these, I mean, they can walk over from certain places, from not far from Citi and Goldman headquarters.
This is very different.
But this is important.
This is very different.
This is
It's a sea change, is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, look, these guys employ millions of people. They're not looking for handouts. They have. I'd say that they are pretty much the pulse of American business, right here, right now.
Wow. Pretty positive spin, guys.
And he mentioned it again just now. This incentive
We're gonna look at
theory,
more.
you're going to
we got a
invest
lot more
$1
to
billion,
talk about. A lot of news too.
expedited permitting. You think businesses respond to that?
I think that when you contrast that with the pause in LNG that President Biden talked about in January.
Sorry, trying to fix my TV up here.
That's over. Okay, that's over. By the way, that destroyed the whole industry. Perhaps the greatest job creator during Biden's administration was the LNG business, and he just said, done. Okay, that's what the pause did. I think you do the billion that says open for business. We're not going to do that stuff anymore. We're just, if you want money, you want to win jobs, bring them here. And he also said, by the way, the tariffs aren't all that horrible. I mean,
well, again, the tariffs
I can't
also
believe
may have
we're
an inflationary impact
positive
for 1
about
year,
tariffs.
But not necessarily.
Hey, thank you to the 1,200 people that are here.
Consumption patterns adjust to some extent.
It's a good question.
Well, how about the peso? The peso's been
What are we
crushed.
buying today?
So whatever
What do you guys think?
The tariff to Mexico, it's like built in. Okay?
Yeah.
It is.
Interesting that rates, even with the print today, Carl, are not, the 10-year is below where it was.
Right.
We were at 4.445. And I have
One
been
sec,
having
I'm
that
gonna check a few things
conversation
out
of
real
late,
quick.
guys, about, well, what, is there something else behind that? Is it perhaps hope
Tesla's back to even.
The efficiency that will be introduced in
Uber's
2025
up.
as a result of AI, that will start to really show productivity increases somehow.
Let's look over here.
Things of that nature, I think. You just wonder, because otherwise it should be potentially higher.
You certainly hope so, because Yeah, although Jim mentioned PPI running hot, claims today at 242 is the biggest weekly jump since October.
But look,
I'm going to leave their stuff here. We might go back to them in a second. Oh, they're getting ready to ring the bell, though. Let's fast forward. Let me do this.
most of it for charity, and I think that's Africans, when you read these, we are seeing some insider selling. It's noticeable. Chewy had big insider selling with the 10% buyback of the sale.
Okay.
It's being to see. I want people to keep an eye on the insider selling.
By the way, a little history for the president-elect. This is not his first time in the building by a long shot. He was here actually for the listing of Trump hotels back in
I agree. Young investor, I agree.
He shot some elements of The Apprentice in this building, Jim, back in 04.
Well, when I was a judge on The Apprentice, we spent a lot of time talking about the stock market. And I enjoyed my time as a judge. He is so involved with trying to understand wealth creation. That's what we talked about off camera. And I know that there's obviously non-disclosure about being an apprentice judge, but the man is fascinated by the stock market. As fascinated as the current president is not.
He is no longer just a TV star. He's the incoming leader of the free world.
People love
He's going to
him.
ring the bell here in about 20 seconds.
Look at this. People love this
The New
man.
York Stock Exchange as we get this opening bell rung by the president-elect, Donald Trump.
Let's see what today does, guys. Let's see what Wall Street thinks of Trump. One sec, I'm going to post this. I like what you said so much, young investor, that I want to post something. Look at how much these people love him. Look at that, and this country.
We're going to wait and see whether he works the room here,
Yes.
Jim and David, in a few minutes. But that is an historic moment. what we
No,
just
it
saw.
is, and I think that, look, I think there's a sense that people feel we have a pro-business president,
right.
we had an anti-business president. Now, it is odd. The Nasdaq did go up under President Biden. Wow.
Just briefly here, we will talk.
All right, I want to stop that just for 1 second here. So I just posted this. I said the train's getting ready to leave for both altcoins and Bitcoin miners. The last few days were the dip. You had your chance. I really think that's true. Again, we could have some hiccups in the road, guys, but anyone still going for Bitfarm? I have like $250,000 in it, I think. Yeah, probably at least $250,000. Bitfarm's $284,000 in just my main account. So yeah, I guess I am. Let's go back over here. Yeah, let's take a look real quick here. We're going to listen to what these guys have to say.
About Service Titan.
Well, no, I can't do that.
Ringing the bell, pricing $8.8 million at 71. That was.
I'm going to pause real quick. So real quickly, guys, if we look over here on the right-hand side of the screen, I'll just bring this over a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to do watch list now. Let's just look at where everything's at. So again, we're 2 minutes into the bell. We have 14% on HUT because, again, that news, we'll pull that up in a second. We got Optimism, a layer 2 on Ethereum up. We got Riot Platforms up almost 10%. Arbitrum, another layer 2 on Ethereum. Avalanche, Iron up 5.7. CleanSpark up 4.45. These shorts will get crushed on these Bitcoin miners. It's coming very quickly. BitDeer, Cypher. You got to remember there's 20+% short interest, guys. Let's just look over here again. From, again, Sebastian Ski's work. Make sure you sign up for it. I'm not going to show this all the time. So, and I put that link in the chat earlier in the conversation. But if you look over here at percentage of float shorted, these are crazy numbers. These 20% numbers, TerraWolf, CleanSpark, Marathon, and BitDeer probably have some of the most explosive upside because they're the ones that are shorted the most right now. That's kind of how it works. So I'd make sure you think about that. But yeah, we've got a lot of strength coming at us in the not too distant future. Let me just hop over here. I want to see if he says anything. I don't think he's saying anymore.
Yeah, I mean, look,
I'm watching the live session too. We'll see if it changes, but I'm gonna buzz out. I'll keep an eye on it, guys, and see if they have any more that, to articulate there. But I'm not really seeing anything too interesting. All right, so U.S. economy, government overspending is what causes inflation. If government waste is stopped, there will be no inflation. So think about China exporting deflation, and then think about us balancing a budget where we're not creating artificial inflation, and then think about an economy where it's the growth that's creating a stable like acceleration in some of the pricing, and we're offsetting things with China. I don't know. We could actually see. We could still see disinflation and very positive growth, I think, in the not too distant future. I'm super excited about it. DCA more ARGTs started at 66. I need to get more. I feel way too underallocated in ARGT right now. I'll just pull this over real quick. So again, CleanSpark, I'm still up about 44%. So that's not bad. ARCG, down 30%, but that's been climbing very quickly. Started climbing a lot yesterday. I was buying yesterday too. I got AMD again. I got my feet wet on that with 26,000. Maybe I'll get some NVIDIA and SMCI too. Just to I'm trying to force myself to do more research, and I've found no better way. This is kind of a pro tip. There's no better way to do better research in something than to put money into it. It makes you focus your attention more than you might otherwise. But yeah, so I'm really excited. Just looking over here, let's look. CleanSpark, again, this is an amazing number, I think. Still up 40% is good. I've got it so much encrypted. Like, just look at this, guys. Bitfarms, almost 300,000. BITX, 32,000. Forgot I owned that. CleanSpark, almost 400,000 just on here. This is just my main account. DLO's in the positive still by 27%. That's amazing. Robinhood, 262% gains. But just let's go down. Iron, I've got a little bit in here. I've got a bunch more in other accounts. I've got over 200,000, maybe 250. Mara, I've got more in other accounts. MicroStrategy, I own a ton. If you just look at this line item right here, I've got almost 1.3 million between MSTR, MSTU, and MSTX, and I've got a bunch on my other accounts. I've got 1.8, 1.9 million now. And I think I'm actually almost positive right now with this position, which is great because I think it's getting ready to skyrocket. PayPal is actually, I'm up on PayPal. I have made money on PayPal. This is really wonderful because it shows that when you still have conviction, you can come back and you can turn something that's, a loss, $344,000 loss, probably closer to 400,000 in total. And right now, if I look across all my accounts, I'm in a gain in PayPal. That's just fucking awesome. Tesla's looking beautiful. I can only imagine what it's going to be able to pull off. Again, I love shaving this off, though, because the count, guys, I shouldn't show all that. Let me get better at scrolling here. But the account, again, 5.1 million just in this one main account. And this was after I moved $500,000 off of this into Robinhood. So it was at least 400,000, something like that. EC, $10 tip. Thank you, sir. For the research, the new Grok 2 is pretty decent. Gives a summary of a company with most. Dude, it is amazing. I'm going to start using it for calls. For quarterly calls. I'm going to start using it. It looks like Trump is like signing autographs and doing other stuff there, but nothing too crazy. But I think there's so much opportunity. I've got so much into miners and MicroStrategies just in the main account alone. I think I'm going to see, I think I could be at $7 to $8 million before the end of the Santa Claus rally, if I'm right, just across my portfolio. And that's just kind of hard to fathom, but exciting at the same time. All right, real quickly here, let's go down. So again, Tom Lee, this was yesterday. He said, headwinds of last 4 years are fading. The global shutdown, the inflation, the fastest hiking cycle ever, contentious 2020 election. Plus, we got the Fed put from lowering rates, and we got the Trump put from people's excitement. Oh, hey, right now, Jim Cramer is interviewing.
All of it, all of it together is very important.
1 second.
Review approvals.
Okay, I didn't expect that. Sorry. Got to jump into this real quick. I didn't expect an interview with the president. This is why we do this, guys. This is why I've got 20 screens.
Come on over here.
I get my 32 set up soon. It's going to be awesome.
Here we go.
Absolutely.
What do you have to say to the
Real quick, I get my 32 inches. I've got the mount for them, I think, tomorrow. Or maybe today, maybe tonight. So tomorrow I might have my 32 inches OLEDs on the side. I will have such a better interface now that I'm just on my PC. I'll be able to crush it and do a lot more in real time.
American investor in this country?
Well, I think you're going to see some very good days ahead. A lot of incentives are going to be given. You saw yesterday a $1 billion investment.
Yeah, we'll look at all the
Very
charts.
fast approvals. Nobody's come up with that one yet, although it seems pretty simple. I think you're going to have some great days ahead. We have to conclude a couple of bad wars that are going on. A lot of bad things are going on, but we'll get them done.
Do you think that we are in a situation where
He's so confident.
business will be far more embraced under you than currently?
Well, I don't want to really knock current, but I will tell you more than at any time, anywhere in the history of our country.
Now, we used to speak together about.
All right, somebody was talking about Elon. All of this is so good. I think Trump is so confident now. Kyle said, it's Elon talking about the ancient computers and tech and government is interesting. Spending money to track the money is necessary. Will Elon getting a new Mac Mini, or will he go with Dell? I don't know about that, but here's what I do want to say about that. I don't know. The technicals on Palantir tell me it should drop. But then when you look at the relationship that exists right now between the PayPal mafia and the United States government with Trump, there's so much that Palantir could do to increase efficiency across the government. I wonder if it could become very interweaved with it. I don't know. I've got to think about it. There's a lot to think about here, guys. There's a lot to think about. But I do think that we're going to see amazing innovation across the government. They've got people running on COBOL, man. Like, there's a lot that can be replaced and corrected. There's a lot that can be automated. There's a lot that can be done to increase efficiency in the government and lower costs substantially. And we have the best, most ambitious people in the world in the last 100, maybe 1,000 years getting ready to do it. It's like the perfect alignment. Good point on Doge. And yeah, Doge and Palantir and Anduril, like defense spending. It's like, oh, defense spending will probably change, but will it go more towards Anduril, more towards Palantir, and more towards companies like them, the unicorns, instead of the legacy payers that just overcharge and don't build what we need? You could see a dramatic shift. It's interesting.
About the idea that the averages mattered and were a good barometer of your performance. Is that still the case? Can we go beyond Dow Jones, maybe to NASDAQ?
Well, I think I've always said, to me, stock market is all of it together. It's very important. It's an honor to be here at New York Stock Exchange. I sort of joked that I actually bought the building across the street because the stock exchange was here. It's a big deal.
40, it's a nice building.
40 Wall Street. So, look, we're going to do things I think that haven't been really done before. We're going to be cutting taxes still further. As you know, we got it down to 21%. We're going to bring it down even below that. You pay 21 if you don't build here, and meaning your product or whatever it is you're building. And if you do, we're going to try getting it down to 15%. But you have to build your product, make your product in the USA.
And how about every working person who's watching would love to be able to see dividend tax maybe much lower, capital gains much lower?
Well, we're going to be talking about that, and we're really talking about lowering taxes. Last time, as you know, we took it probably from close to 44, 45% down to 21. Everyone said that was impossible. Now it was over.
And guys, think about this. He's got a much stronger mandate now than he had in 2016. I'm sorry, he just does. He's been through the ringer, and the election was shocking. When you look at the data, getting the popular vote is insane. He has the mandate to crush all of this. He runs everything.
Always I really wanted to get it down to 15, and we'll be able to do that.
I don't know if they're tight, but they get along really well. They communicate really well, and they say good things about each other all the time. And they have very similar ideologies and belief systems, and they know all the same people from the PayPal mafia. So I don't know, man. Like they seem to get along really, really well every time I've seen it. I think there's going to be strong alignment there, and I think again, it makes sense for Donald Trump to have Alex Karps and the Elon Musk and the David Sachs and the Vivek Ramaswamys and all these people on his side and working together to build systems that the other side can't attack later.
And if you remember,
what is the average time range you set for options calls? Watch my video. My Options 101 video. Look up on YouTube, Micro to Macro, Options 101. Watch the video. I believe in leaps. I want to give myself a lot of time. If you don't give yourself a lot of time, it's dangerous, okay? The more time, the better. You can still get 3 to 10x the underlying asset, but you just need to allow yourself time to be right.
We had the best 3 years in the history of our country from the standpoint of the economy. And you've been so professional and so good. I haven't seen you so much since I've been a politician.
Well, thank you, sir. We were together, and I was grateful to be a judge on The Apprentice. We had a great time.
That's right. You were a judge. He was a tough judge. He was a tough judge.
Well, we had to eliminate some people who didn't cut the mustard. You made me a hatchet man. I respect that.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be doing the same thing. I can tell you this. Unfortunately, there's too many of them. But I think we're going to really incentivize the country to go back and work, and they will be incentivized. They're going to do well. People are going to be very happy. JD is very much involved, and I have a great partner right over here with our First Lady. People love our First Lady, and we're going to do something very special. We have some great people up there. You saw some of the people on the cabinet, and we have some of the most successful people in the country. And we're
Sorry, normally I wouldn't pay attention to stuff like this, but he's literally one of the most pro-capitalism, pro-meritocracy presidents. It looks like you got JD Vance up there soon. I just feel like this is a moment in history, so I'm going to focus on it.
Dealing with the most successful people, and those are the people that put others to work. And we're going to be hitting job numbers. And as you probably heard me say, we picked up, since just the election, $3 trillion in, you call it worth or value, but $3 trillion was picked up since November 5th, so that's pretty good.
When President Reagan was here, he talked about putting the bear into hibernation, letting the bull run free.
Yeah.
Sound like a good motto?
Sounds perfect. I can't do any better than that. That's what we're going to do.
All right. Now, I know we've got some other people here, but I don't see Elon Musk. I was hoping, because he's been a good, let's say, a good aid to you on a lot of different things.
Elon's kind of busy.
Or whether it be GOP-1 drugs. I mean, a lot of different ideas.
Well, he's got a lot of ideas. He's a great guy. He's a really good guy, too. And I guess his stock has done pretty well. Everybody's stock has done well since the election and even before. And Scott Bessent's done a fantastic job. And one of the things I liked about Scott is that he said long before I even know who he was that the market's only doing well. This is before the election. It's only doing well because they think Trump is going to win. So we made Scott the Treasury Secretary, which everybody frankly wanted. And he's going to do a fantastic job.
Meantime, how about a crypto?
And he was right,
we
too.
do need, I think, you're embracing crypto.
Ooh, crypto.
Very different
Crypto
from the previous
guys.
administration.
What?
Strategic Petroleum Reserve-like for crypto?
Yeah, I think so. We're going to do something great with crypto because we don't want China or anybody else, and not just China, but others are embracing it, and we want to be the head. We're going to be ahead of AI. We're going to be way ahead of AI, and we've got to produce tremendous amounts of electricity. You know that. It's unbelievable when you think that we need more than twice what we already have. If you think that's pretty for a specific industry, but we'll be able to do it.
Yeah, more than twice we have
Lee
just for
Zeldin
AI.
in charge of the environment.
Totally.
He's going to be giving us very strong approvals, I think, and he's
And again, history tells us with more energy comes more wealth.
going to make sure everything's good and clean and proper, but he's going to give us very fast approvals.
Natural gas makes it so that we should be able to afford it and be able to handle the 5% per year grid.
Right.
But obviously, you think that we need to be able to be the king of AI, which means that we also have to, some people would say, protect Taiwan, because China would like very much to be able to have that technology.
Well, we're going to be having a lot of talks with China. We have a good relationship with China. I have a surprising relationship now. When the COVID came in,
he totally did. I
I
agree,
sort of
Mike.
cut it off. That was a step too far. That was, as they say, a bridge too far. But we've been talking and discussing with President Xi some things and other world leaders, and I think we're going to do very well all around. And we've been abused as a country. We've been badly abused from an economic standpoint, I think, and even militarily.
Totally did.
You know, we put up all the money, they put up nothing.
So to be clear, people are asking in the chat, did he confirm a strategic Bitcoin reserve? Well, Jim Cramer just literally asked him if there was going to be a reserve, like an oil reserve type situation with crypto. And he said, yeah, that's what we're going to try and do. So we got Bill Atkins. We got lots of stuff happening right now, guys. It's going to be good.
And then they abuse us on the economy. And we just
Bill
can't let
Ackman's
that
talking
happen. We're
right
not
now.
going to be abused anymore. We put America first, but we're also going to help other countries.
Well, I know you've got a ton of things to do, but what can you say to the
Dude,
working
so
person
bullish.
who owns stocks? Should they buy more
If you're
stock?
non-political,
Well, I don't want to get
this is
into a
bullish.
situation where they do and we have a dip or something, because that can always happen. You know that better than anybody in the world, probably. I think you're the leading authority in going up and going down, but you always end up. He always ends up. That's the good news. But we have, like, Doug Burgum standing right over here has done a fantastic job. He's been on your show many times.
just made a joke about ups and downs with
just
Jim
tremendous
Cramer.
people. I would say this. I think long term, this is going to be a country like no other. We had
Trump
the three
invited
best
China
years ever
to his
until COVID
inauguration.
came in, and then
Wow.
we did a good job getting
Like
rid
Xi
of it.
and
The
his-
stock
yeah,
market,
wow.
if you look at the markets, were higher than just previous to COVID coming in when we handed it over. And now we know. I know the people. I know the players.
This
When
is
I
so
came in, it
bullish.
was very interesting, Jim. I came in. And I was not a Washington guy. I didn't know too many people in Washington. I had to rely. Now, who do I know people? I know people. I know people so much they're coming out of my ears. So we have great people.
Mark
coming in.
Zuckerberg?
Well, Mark Zuckerberg's been over to see me, and I can tell you Elon is another, and Jeff Bezos is coming up next week. And I want to get ideas from them. Look, we want them to do well. We want everybody, and we want great jobs, fantastic salaries. We want people to love and
Somebody who loves the country and wants the companies that are in it to benefit and enrich society. Wow, what a fucking change. In not being political in nature. Trump is the exact opposite of everything they said he was during the election. He's the exact opposite of it. He's going to save this country
you know,
with
when
the
they
help
wake
of great people.
up in the morning, like get up, and I love to go to work.
First
I wanna
lady's
go to
hot,
work. We want
Melania.
people working.
She's
and
old,
we
man,
want
but
them
she's
working
pretty
for a
good
lot of
looking,
money.
yeah.
All right, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you
Elect,
very much.
thank you so much. Good to talk to you again.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you, Vice President elect. Thank you. Thank
JD
you very
Vance
much.
is just like, hey guys, I'm
Jim,
here.
just an incredible ad hoc moment of live television there.
One
Jim
sec, I
Cramer
want
talking
to
the
move.
president-elect.
They're talking to Bill
Interesting.
Ackman, guys.
Coming
This
up.
we got to
Then
listen
I
to
would
this.
have got more of the old days in the COVID period when
Mic him up is
pro-business.
Okay, yeah.
It's a
Okay, here we
great
go.
day. It's a great day because the president's in obviously great spirits, and we're stepping into, I would say, the most pro-growth, pro-business, pro-American administration I've perhaps seen in my adult lifetime, certainly.
what do you? The president mentioned the
kinda
word
saying the same
incentive,
thing I am.
incentive theory. Upstairs, downstairs. How would you characterize corporate America's appetite for responding to those incentives?
Ebullience. Yeah. So we just had a nice little ceremony, and CEOs of broad array of big American companies, and I would
They're
say
all gonna be
everyone
deal
is
making.
incredibly enthusiastic.
They're all gonna
really
be deal
about
making.
A new administration that's
Think about this. You have a pro-business government where you don't have regulators trying to keep these guys from closing deals. You're going to see so much deal making. You're going to see tons of IPOs that have been waiting on the sidelines. You're going to see the people dialing down the risk curve and everything in the next year. It's going to be insane. There's a reason why Tom Lee is saying we get to 7,000 and we break down, because that top trend line, that resistance line, is just so powerful in the S&P. But let's just look at that again. What does that mean? What does it mean if we get that move up, right? If we get to that level at 7,000, what is that as far as range? That is about 16% on the S&P from where we're at right now. That's still a long ways to go, guys. And that's just the S&P. Again, we think the market's going to broaden out, and we'll see that expand into the smaller caps in the Russell. The 2000 will definitely start to benefit as you see rotation, because it's gonna be a stock pickers market again. We're gonna see a lot of dynamics changing here. I'm very excited about it. Let's listen to the rest of what Bill has to say.
It's about efficiency, removing the impediments to growth, deregulation. I think a lot of confidence that comes from that.
Yeah. Sorry, Bill. I hear that as well. Of course,
Nice.
the investment community, though, the things that seem to concern some people are the unknowns, tariffs and deportations. Do you share that at least concern, or what is your sense as to how that's going to go? The impact on inflation, obviously, is a key component, potentially, if both are quite deep and severe.
Sure. So, look, I think with respect to immigration, the president's very focused on the safety of the American people and having an open border, not vetting people coming in, having criminals into the country. I think that's the number one priority, and that is a actually pro-economy move. If you get rid of people who are causing harm.
That's 100,000 people, not 11 million potentially.
Unfortunately, I think it's more than that, but that's a priority. Look, I think the overarching theme is President Trump will do nothing that interferes with the success of the country, the success of the economy. That's absolutely his number.
And he's got brilliant people telling him what that is.
That's his number one issue. So I think he's going to be very thoughtful about tariffs.
You do?
I think
national defense, number one issue.
That can be used to level the playing field. I think that's what he wants. He wants a level playing field for the country.
So, but what do we say to someone like Janet Yellen, Secretary of Treasury? She just says, look, this is inflationary. We really got to be very careful. Many things can go wrong with what he's talking about. I mean, I'm not hearing that from you, obviously.
Yeah, no, I would say I'm more optimistic about the economy, the country in a very long time.
And do you find there are people out here that surprise you with being optimistic? You were very early on the bandwagon, but there are others who weren't, who seem to be, like Jeff Bezos coming. I mean, it seems to be a change of tune.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who is opposed to the business plan of this next administration. And I think, by the way, this is a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If business confidence, the backdrop is you got a Fed that's lowering rates, right? You have inflation under control. You have a FTC which is going to be more thoughtful about allowing transactions to happen. That's very bullish for markts kind of generally.
No doubt about it. We talk about it all the time.
You've got the wealth effect, right? As markets, the biggest investment for most people today is their pension or their stock market related portfolio. Housing prices going up, right? So you've had meaningful increase in asset values in a relatively short period of time. That has a pro-economy effect. So all of these are kind of pro-secular in a very positive way for the economy. So I think it makes sense that he chose this spot to accept his Time magazine cover.
Making his way through, I think that's post 5 or 6, talking to some of the floor traders. Bill, you can imagine one of the negative things that'll get written will be that this optically is about Wall Street, not Main.
Real quickly, Kyle Wright said, hey, Tesla ran a little hot, but it's great. Oh, no, sorry. Henry DeTrade said, question for you, Jesse. I'm wondering when thousands of government employees get those $200,000 checks, where will that money go? I think it will go to pay the bills, just like it normally does, unless these people find jobs and get rehired back into the economy. Then I think it could go into excess. I think it could go into like a supercar or something. Like if these people are getting really big checks, like 2 years worth of pay. And here's the thing. I don't even know if it's going to be one big check. It's probably going to be, we pay you for 2 years. So they still get the same income. That's what I would assume, right? They still get the same income, so that doesn't change. So it's not really like an inflationary thing where you're increasing the amount of money in the supply very, very fast. The only way I think I think what could happen is they could double dip. And so you could see them spending money. I don't think there's enough people that are going to be let go, though, over the time frames where it would be disruptive in any way to what happens in the economy. I don't see that being a problem at all. I think, if anything, it's just going to be a booster towards it because, again, you still have people getting steady paychecks for 2 years, and then they could be productive in the actual, private sector where their productivity rates are much, 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 much higher than government. So I think it's all good. It's all super beneficial. Everything I look at is super beneficial. Matthew Smith sent you a DM on X. Read it when you get a chance today. Yep, I will. Henry D. Trades, severance checks, that is. MB, so Tesla topped at 420.69. I sold Tesla 3X at the top and flipped into Tesla stock. Thank you. That's smart. I'm still going long on the options, and I think that they can still go higher, actually. I still think we can get to 600, and I don't know when that happens, if it's even by Q2 maybe. But again, I've sold 55% of my position, and I only have like 1.7 million or something now. Yeah, it's including this morning, maybe close to 1.7 million. So I'm less than I was, but I've made so much money off of that. I have no complaints whatsoever. I'm very happy about life. But let's look here. What else we got? I'm going to jump back over. I want to see what else they have talking. It looks like
Main Street.
Talking
Although
more.
The president did go out of his way to talk
For a
about
while.
these are the companies that employ people, and he wants people to want to go to work in the morning.
I mean, I think most of the country understands that the more successful businesses are, the more the stock market goes up, the more that their wages rise, the more job growth, the more opportunity, the more businesses who come to this country. It lifts all boats, and I think the president got elected because of a large, wide base that includes very low-income people in the country, and that's what he feels a responsibility to.
It's interesting.
Last I looked, you're still an investor, so I'm just curious, given your outlook broadly speaking, but more specifically, are there any sectors that you feel are going to benefit in particular from the incoming administration?
I think it's an all.
All right, I'm going to answer a couple of questions and we'll get back to it about the sectors that will benefit in the administration. I think all of them do, but so two things. One, Shames said Henrich's thesis is that the consumer is struggling and causing private sector jobs to disappear, and that the Fed was too slow to cut rates and turn around the labor market. And I think that's bullshit. I think the Fed was incredibly aggressive. Like, they were slow, but they were slow for a reason. They wanted the Bank of Canada and a bunch of others in Europe. They wanted them to move first, so it didn't look like the Fed was having to do it. So they let them go first. They let them start to weaken their currencies in desperation in order to be able to get it to where they could start getting people coming into it. And they actually operated really good here. Yes, we've lost jobs. Yes, the bottom 1/3 of the economy has been hurt a lot. But again, pay is increasing outside of a PPI number that showed that we were going up a little bit and a little bit on jobs. Again, jobs, best numbers since the 60s outside of the last couple of years. So for unemployment and continuing jobless claims and all these other things, best numbers since the 60s. And then listen to what we're listening to here. Listen to people like Bill Ackman. Think about Mark Zuckerberg. Think about Elon Musk. Think about Jeff Bezos. All these people, they're all talking and they're saying, guys, this is exciting. We're deregulating. We're going to have tons of countries trying to bring money in here and increase manufacturing. We have a large base of people. I think the Trump administration, they're definitely going to lock the border down, and they're going to expedite the removal of criminals or areas where it's detrimental to the economy. And these people, you can't give them jobs if they don't have the fit for that stuff. They'll probably be deported. But at the same time, they're going to open up the illegal immigration path and remove tons of regulation from that to get people that have money and that want to start businesses to come into this country. This is like the best fucking setup ever. So I completely disagree with Henrich's approach. I think he's looking at it from a very European lens, and I wonder if he doesn't like Donald Trump. Does he like Donald Trump? Does he say anything about politics whatsoever? Because I don't see how you can be a really good macro guy and not be paying attention to the policies that we're talking about right now. Dario says, you can give simulations. Hello. Richard said, hello, as a newbie to the Discord and the market. Should I just try and copy your portfolio and follow today's trades in the Discord? First off, I don't give financial advice. Secondly, you could do whatever you want to with it. I do, again, on a daily basis on here, guys. I'm telling you what I'm getting out of and what I'm getting into. If you're looking to do this and maybe use it as a baseline for whatever decisions you end up making on your own, through your own decision making, you could certainly do that. But I would definitely also focus on that dialogue and being, if I'm saying like, oh, I'm exiting all of this because I'm making so much money and I'm selling it, maybe it isn't the best thing to get into options. If I've made, like Tesla, if I've made $2.5 million, $3 million on Tesla options in the last 6-7 months, is it really a good idea to jump into them? When I'm up 350% or 315% on my position right now, is it really a good idea to jump into options? And it's probably not, right? Like, you got to watch the videos. I'm trying to teach people to fish. I don't want you just to blindly follow me and not know what you're doing. I never think that's a good idea. There's a lot of smart people out there. Listen to all of them. All right, let's keep going here. Dario, you can give us stimulations from MSTR purchase option for any stocks you like, please. Stimulations, recommendations or something? So again, I can just talk about what I like right now, okay? I could do that. This is what I like right now. Do your own research. There's a lot of people out there that have really great advice. I like Tesla, but I would only own it as a stock. Right now I have almost 1.7 million in options, but I am selling those as we go higher. and I'll be converting a decent amount of it to stock. I'm still trying to hedge my bets a little bit right now because I do have TLT. I've got 65,000 in that. I have a cash position too. Let's see what it says up here. It was 420.69 at one point, which was great. Right now, it's whatever the difference is between 5.107 million and 4.695. So I would say that's about a little over 400,000, about 412, something like that, sitting in cash. So I've got the cash, I've got the TLT. These are kind of like hedging strategies. I also am wondering if Argentina can do really well and have limited downside. I do believe that's true. I've been stepping into that. I bought a little AMD because, again, I'm trying to get into the chip sector. I do believe that I just said today in a post a minute ago that I believe that altcoins and Bitcoin miners are getting ready to take off. And this was your last chance to really get into it. And I believe that MSTR is on that list as well. So if I was somebody new coming into this, I would be very much into the Bitcoin related stuff personally, maybe with a focus on MSTR if you don't want to use any kind of daily rebalancing theta decay leverage. Okay. But and then I think having some cash is warranted. I have like 8% maybe in cash right now, maybe 7. I don't know. I'd have to do the math. But I don't have a ton, and then I got some TLT. Crazy thing, I can buy from a brokerage, but I can buy ETFs. That means I can buy TSLL, but not Tesla, so I don't have a way to lower leverage. What? JR, crazy thing, I cannot buy stocks in my 401k, bro. Oh, dude, roll it over. Well, I mean, I'm not a financial advisor, but here's what I can tell you I did. I rolled over my 401ks. If you're no longer employed with the company, roll it over into an IRA. Not a Roth IRA, but just a standard IRA. You got to make sure you do it right so you don't suffer tax obligations. But assuming you're in the United States and that it works this, or if you're somewhere else, it works the same. But I would roll that over, and then you'll be able to invest in anything. Okay. LW Crypto, what is the best? If there's an altcoin ETF to be in, I don't know if there is a good altcoin ETF. They probably run it like a premium, and I don't know if they're good. Is he interviewing Trump again? What the hell? What the hell is going on? I don't feel like I'm going to get anything today. If you're still employed, you're just screwed. Sucks. I just got that last comment. I don't know what else. But yeah, I mean, being employed sucks, period. It has for many, many decades, thousands of years. But yeah, those times are changing. I think even now it's much easier just to live with less income, especially in the United States. If you're modest in your means, you can live pretty good and have a great life. And that's only going to get better with Bitcoin and AI and autonomy and robotics and Trump and Elon Musk and all those things. Robbie Duvall, company got bought out. 401k options suck. That sucks. Yeah, you'd have to do it when you switch jobs. Yeah. Unless you can do it in service rollover per your plan. Yeah, I don't know if a lot of companies do that or not. But yeah, it's worth probably checking out. Real quick here, I do have to check on something. I'm going to try and stick it out till at least 9:30, guys, and then I might have to bounce after that. I'm trying to spend some time with my nephew. He goes into, well, I should say this. I'm trying to spend some time with my nephew outside of our house because he's living with us, and he goes into house arrest on the 20th. So he's got about a week where he can be outside of the house, and so I'm trying to spend time with him and help him be productive and get out and enjoy life. Matt Nintendo, I'm 25. I still have to work for so long. Not if you invest money and you're modest in your means and you don't buy a bunch of stupid shit you don't need. You could retire much quicker than the people around you. Use what you can, but you can do a lot better. All right. Let me see you here real quick. I'm going to play. We got more interviews here with Trump. So give me 1 second here. I'm actually just going to back this up just a little bit. I got to use the restroom real quick, but I'm just going to double check and make sure we didn't miss anything else. We got the rest of Ackman talking. I think the gist with Ackman was it's very positive. And let's see what else Trump's going to say. I gotta hit the restroom one more time. I apologize. My whole family's kind of sick, so might be part of that. All right, 1 second here.
A lot of incentives are going to be given. You saw yesterday a $1 billion investment, and we give you very fast approvals. Nobody's come up with that one yet, although it seems pretty simple. I think you're going to have some great days ahead. We have to conclude a couple of bad wars that are going on. A lot of bad things are going on, but we'll get them done.
do you think that we are in a situation where business will be far more embraced under you than currently?
Well, I don't want to really knock current, but I will tell you more than at any time, anywhere in the history of our country.
Now, we used to speak together about the idea that the averages mattered and were a good barometer of your performance. Is that still the case? Can we go beyond Dow Jones, maybe to NASDAQ?
Well, I think I've always said, to me, stock market is all of it, all of it together. It's very important. It's an honor to be here at New York Stock Exchange. I sort of joked that I actually bought the building across the street because the stock exchange was here. It's a big deal.
40, it's a nice building.
40 Wall Street. So, look, we're gonna do things I think that haven't been really done before. We're gonna be cutting taxes still further. As you know, we got it down to 21%. We're going to bring it down even below that. You pay 21 if you don't build here, and meaning your product or whatever it is you're building. And if you do, we're going to try getting it down to 15%. But you have to build your product, make your product in the USA.
And how about every working person who's watching would love to be able to see dividend tax maybe much lower, capital gains much lower?
Well, we're going to be talking about that, and we're really talking about lowering taxes. Last time, as you know, we took it probably from close to 44, 45% down to 21. Everyone said that was impossible. Now, it was always my...
Is this the same interview?
I really wanted to get it down to 15.
Is this the same interview?
And if you remember, we had the best 3 years in the history of our country from the standpoint of the economy. And you've been so professional and so good.
Oh, yeah, it's the same interview. All right, so we're skipping that. We're getting off the live stuff. I want to switch over anyway. I gotta get through the rest of this. We got so much to talk about. I'm going to try and rock and roll through news really, really quickly. Let's see if there's anything else to talk about here. Zero hedge. Wow, Elon Musk. In other words, Janet Yellen has personally overseen $16.7 trillion, or 46% of all the debt increases in the history of the United States. Almost half of the debt increases have been tied to Janet Yellen. Probably time for her to go, even though I do like what she did with shorter dated treasuries. AMD, please, if you have time. Yes, we will. Returns in Q4 have mostly aligned with historical seasonality, which suggests a positive final 2 weeks of the year after a brief consolidation this week. We'll see. So this is Liz Young Thomas, and I do agree with her. Let me see here. There might be more stuff, but I think it's rolling. We'll call it there under this section. Let's get over to Bitcoin and MicroStrategy. I've been studying so much MicroStrategy stuff. So pro-Bitcoin, Lanai Nagreti, I might be saying that wrong, officially appointed as mayor of Santa Monica, California. She sponsored the creation of the city's new Bitcoin office earlier this year. Gotta love that. Michael Saylor is now actively encouraging the USA to dump all of its gold to buy Bitcoin. Let's listen to that real quick. Again, I think this is a narrative that's growing too. Cynthia Loomis is talking about it all the time.
Dump the gold and...
1 sec.
Dump the gold and buy Bitcoin because you simultaneously demonetize the asset held by your enemies. Who owns the gold, right? You just sell it all and demonetize gold once and for all, put a stake in its heart, and buy Bitcoin, and you get 20, 25.
He's not the only one talking about this. I was talking about this too, and other people are talking about it. You're going to hear more and more and more about it.
5% of Bitcoin.
Again, it's a strategic move, guys. If you haven't read Software from Jason Lowery, read it.
Bitcoin network for free.
So I won't play the whole thing, just short on time. But again, this is happening. Also, Kim Young-ju is amazing. James got me looking at him yesterday. Bitcoin is attracting $80 billion every month. Look at this number. The realized cap of Bitcoin. Look at this number. Look at this number. So let's go back here. Nearly half of the capital that has entered the Bitcoin market over the past 15 years was added this year. Half the capital of the last 15 years was added this year. Doesn't that sound familiar? It sounds like an even more accelerated version of like the money printing that we saw from Janet Yellen over her term, but it's just happening on a Bitcoin scale. I says, if you don't understand what this means, you still don't understand Bitcoin. And again, we're just seeing floods of capital as it takes over in the market, and it's going to continue. Don't forget, Dennis Porter. This was 12 hours ago. He said in 24 hours. So 12 hours from now, it sounds like 9 o'clock tonight. History, he said that there's less than 24 hours to fight for a strategic Bitcoin reserve will hit a new stride. History will quite literally be made. Nearly 5,000 RSVPs and climbing. See you there. I'll definitely be checking that out. Also, Riggs posted this. This is a really great post talking about Bitcoin saying, yeah, Bitcoin is the tulip bubble. But listen to it. Or I should say this. Yeah, you got to listen to it. It's just good. It explains itself.
Like
everyone goes, Bitcoin is a bubble. It's tulips. Okay, tulips was the bubble in tulips in Amsterdam in 1630. That bubble in Amsterdam, where is the center of the global flower industry today? It is in Holland. The Netherlands has been the center of the global flower industry for 400 years. That tulip bubble brought 400 years of prosperity to Amsterdam.
So cool.
So to call it tulips is actually a compliment, not an insult. And then you go.
This is just such a unique spin to the tulip, bubble concept that's been out there for a long time. I love it.
So what is a bubble? Well, I'll tell you what a bubble is. A bubble is a bull market in which you don't have a position. It is a psychological way of justifying that you didn't invest in something to call it a bubble. So you can call it a bubble and you can dismiss it. But the potential of Bitcoin to be the default cash system of the internet and the default savings vehicle of the internet is so extraordinary, I would argue that the risk is not owning Bitcoin, the risk is not owning Bitcoin, if that makes sense. Everyone should have an allocation in their portfolio. And don't try and use the fact that I don't understand it as an excuse. Because most people don't understand how the combustion engine works, and they still own a car. Most people don't understand hypertext transfer protocol, and they still use the internet.
It's such a great explanation. Again, somebody forwarded this yesterday, and I had to listen to it. So Disease Kodak said, Jesse, I accidentally sold all my Tesla, which I just wanted to sell a few shares. I bought it right back. I want to hold long term. Did I just screw myself into having to pay taxes on that, or am I okay because I bought it right back? If you're are you in a standard investment account or like a IRA? If it's a standard investment account, then you probably have taxes to pay. I mean, and hopefully you had it for at least a year. You definitely want to, I don't know. I don't think there's any way to correct that. There's also rules to try and prevent day trading that make it with some of these exchanges, and depending upon what you're in, like an IRA or something, where you can't just go back in and out all the time and day trade with it. But you probably should check it out and talk to somebody. Maybe somebody in chat can help you. Sorry, man. Definitely do not sell. Always pay attention to the lots that you're looking at to be safe. Good. It is what it is. Yeah, sorry, dude. All right, let's keep going here. Powerful U.S. Senate office just told me, this is 12 hours ago from Dennis Porter, that we should sell our gold to buy Bitcoin. Senator Cynthia Lummis may have an ally in the Senate sooner than we thought possible. So we've got multiple senators that are looking to back bills to basically make it to where Bitcoin is a new reserve and we start selling off gold. I think that's a big deal. Hey Apollo, Thomas from Hey Apollo said, every time a new loan is created, the money is created out of thin air. I don't think people realize that, but new loan issuance is monetary expansion if you look at it in just a simple form, because the banks have fractional reserve lending requirements. And with fractional reserve lending requirements, they can issue very large amounts of debt that allow people to be able to purchase things, whether it's a house, a car, or just everyday goods. So we have to think about monetary expansion, not just in the normal everyday printing of fiat, but also in what happens with debt. And I think that's a really important thing to understand. And again, just showing the curve that he believes Bitcoin is going on and the fact that we're looking to accelerate into it, which I also agree with. You can do payment plans normally with taxes but there's can be penalties too. Taxes can get complicated. Hopefully that simplifies in the not too distant future with Trump as well. Bar chart 13 hours ago says, think about this for a second. Once MicroStrategy is added to the NASDAQ 100, all holders of QQQ will own Bitcoin, whether they like it or not, essentially forced into being a crypto investor. I don't think people understand that. I also don't think they understand how passive flows in these indices will also increase as the QQQ goes up. It will increase flows into all of these Bitcoin-related investments. And then I put agreed for, again, Qi Zhengyu or Young Zhu said Bitcoin corrections would be relatively small in this bull cycle thanks to steady buying from ETFs and institutions. And he's showing price drawdown after price recovery. So there's 2017. There's 2020. There's 2024. Pretty fascinating. Pretty fascinating stuff. There's a lot of great things that this guy shares. Let's see if there's anything else I want to show on here. The biggest Okta video ever, and so these are just all the technicals that James tends to share. I would look at it. He posted this one yesterday. Just amazing stuff inside of it. I think the rest of it we talked about. Let's see. Pattern day trading rules are such bullshit. I should be able to day trade as much as I want. Yeah, it just depends on it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of regulation in place. A part of it is just to slow down trading, I think. They want to keep cascading events from happening. It's like the Black Monday 1987 stuff. Victor Hernandez, hey, Jesse, little question here. In Spanish sheet media are saying that because of Willow, Bitcoin is in risk to be hacked. No, that's bullshit. That is such bullshit. That comes up every cycle. That came up since before. I got into Bitcoin in early 2017. That was a concern in the previous cycle before that. so it's been around. Like in 2013, people were like, "Oh no, quantum computing is gonna destroy Bitcoin." There's so many reasons why that's not true. Just do some research into it. I posted a ton of things over the last couple of days talking about that as well. Even though I post a lot of stuff, so it might be hard to find. Ryan Rip. Nope, that was you. Young investor, 2020 cratered so hard. And then if you bought into that, you made shit tons of money because the government stimulated at one of the most aggressive rates in history. Adam, Palantir 3030, MicroStrategy keeps issuing this debt, getting me aggravated. He needs to calm down. No, it's perfect, man. That's what he needs to do. Did he do more? That's what he needs to do. You need to look. No, dude. No. We want him to do that. We want him to do that. There's so much. First off, right now, their average over the last year, and it's getting better for their liability to asset ratio. I think it's that one. Just basically how levered they are as a company. It's only like 25%, and it's been dropping. It's like 20% the last I checked. So this company is doing exactly what they need to do because every time they issue new debt with these convertible bond offerings, which they don't have to pay back forever with amazing terms, they then buy Bitcoin and it becomes immediately accretive, and the amount of Bitcoin you own per share goes up instead of down. We want him to keep doing that. It's one of the best things you ever could imagine happening right now. And I don't know if he did something like that again, but I would love it if he did. Let me see here real quickly. Is there another post or no? Is expected to enter the NASDAQ. Yeah, Friday's going to be, is tomorrow Friday? I think tomorrow's Friday. That's going to be an amazing day. Very, very good. Okay, so there's no new news. But let's look real quickly. So let's look. So Bitcoin is at 101,000. It's establishing its base before it goes higher. I love all of that. Palantir. So Adam says price keeps being suppressed. That's the issue. I got the price. No, it's not really though, man. Like again, you have to. If you look at MicroStrategy and what is done and compared to Bitcoin, it is amazing. It's amazing. This thing went from, what is this? September? September 6th. So in 2 months, September to November, a little over 2 months, 2.5 months roughly, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, this thing went up almost 400%. And then MSTX and MSTU over that same period of time went up about 1,300% on average. So this thing is amazing, and all it's doing right now, it looks like all it's doing right now, is it down today is something? Is that why people are freaking? So all it's doing now is just simply backtesting the support before what I believe is going to be a breakout higher. That's all that's happening right now. I think we're getting ready to curve up and break out higher. And again, I don't know, something could screw that up. That's very possible. Let me look over here at the watch list real quick. So again, we started out hotter today. It looks like we're backing off a little bit. Hut's only up 9%, ARB's up 8%, BitDeer's up 5%. It looks like some of the market is retraced a little bit into the day, but I still think it's going to surge into the afternoon. Look, Palantir's up 1.72%, Iron's up almost 2%, Riot's up 3%, CleanSpark's up 1.25%. Again, we're seeing a grind before we pop. This is right before the fun starts, and if we get, I don't know. We got to see what happens with markets over the next week. But if we don't have like some Japanese yen carry trade next Wednesday, I think we just keep screaming higher. There's so many beautiful things coming. The market is a forward-looking mechanism. It's going to be focused on the inauguration and the good things that are coming. There could be a period where it turns into a negative narrative because that event's happened. He's basically been elected. He's in office, and then the work has to start. And any delays that you see for like narratives that liberals can grab onto, they're going to. And so you could see like the price drop, especially with all the gains people have had in the beginning of the year. You could see the price drop, I think, because people are exiting positions. They just wanted to wait until the new year to get out of them. But I don't think any of this is bad. I don't think it's bad. And you know what's nice so far on the day? We'll have to keep an eye on it. But MicroStrategy is down 2.2%. And if I average out MSTX and MSTU, we're actually within that 2x metric and not worse. So that's good. Actually, maybe it's a little bit better than 2x. We'll see if that maintains. But I don't know. I'm not really worried right now. That said, I do have cash, right? I've got 65,000 in TLT, and I've got 412,000 or something in cash. So I've got the ability to pull some triggers if anything bad happens. But I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Yeah, he might have, or it could just be shorts kicking in for a little bit. Again, I gotta look all the altcoins that I'm looking at. You can check it out earlier in the stream. They look amazing. Let's just look at optimism. Let's pull up optimism here. See how optimistic optimism is. So again, just a glance at this chart, it's beautiful. Well, I mean, you could kind of see it for a second there. It's coming up now, but look at that bounce. How optimistic is that bounce? And these are riskier markets than just like the U.S. economy. And we're seeing this kind of bounce. And this isn't just this altcoin, it's all of them. Look at this, dude. This is almost a bullish hammer right now. Look at the wick on that thing. What does this win up from this big like drop? If you bought the dip in this, you were taught yesterday and the day before, the last 36 hours, that if you bought the dip on optimism, you could make 32%. I don't know that's about as optimistic as it gets right there, man. So I don't know. I think there's really good things happening right now. I think people need to be more optimistic. See what I did there? Victor, very glad to see you help the community. Adam in Discord, looking for group support Israel. Dario Ferraro, CleanSpark Big Farms call options is very cheap. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. Disease Kodak. Jesse, do you know how much percentage you have in TLT and ARGT? Oh, it's super small. Super small. I have like 65,000. So what is that? That's like 1% in TLT. And then I have, again, about 7-8% in cash. ARGT doesn't even make up a percent. It's like 0.3% or something. So very low numbers right now. But again, I'm transitioning into them. That's one of the areas I'm leaning towards. All right, it's almost 9:30. I know I didn't get through. I didn't get to MicroStrategy. I'm just going to try and run quick here. I don't think the market's going down. So no, I'm not thinking about IBIT calls. I'm probably just going to hold my money and see what happens. Again, I've got a goal of cashing out at least $250,000 anyway, probably closer to 300,000 here soon, to take care of expenses and things that I've been floating for debt. And I'm just waiting until the beginning of the year to do that. Real quickly, MicroStrategy. I thought Max Kaiser, he is very much a Bitcoin maxi, but what I love is he appreciates MicroStrategy and understands the play. So he said, Sailor and MSTR weaponization of Bitcoin and their speculative attack on fiat money and gold is opening a path to beauty and freedom for humanity. And I agreed with him. I basically said, hey, this is preventing people from getting just destroyed from shitcoins, which again, I think is the military guy sitting in front of all these knives. So instead of dealing with all the garbage, you can sleep well at night because you own Bitcoin and MicroStrategy. And MicroStrategy is accelerating the demand for Bitcoin all around the world and speeding up things that I think could have taken another cycle and making them happen right now. James from Invest Answers, this is a beautiful meme that I absolutely love. It says, this has to be the best meme of December 2024. Timely, on point, and freaking hilarious. It shows Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy as a Trojan horse. Being pulled in to the passive index by the passive index investors into the QQQ, and just showing how this will take passive income and help fuel Bitcoin's growth through MicroStrategy, and I love that. Kim Young Ju said MicroStrategy is not a bubble. their Bitcoin holdings premium has dropped from 240% to 99% in 4 weeks as they continue accumulating Bitcoin. So the premium went from 240 to 99%. If they balance NAV and BTC premiums while buying, both MSTR and BTC prices can increase steadily without issue. I 100% agree with this. And I also agree, too, that the MicroStrategy BTC premium has come back to a much more sustainable level, and the price is at a new base, much, much higher. Premium down here, price up here. This is super exciting. If you guys don't understand this trade, you fucking need to. So let me know what you need to figure that out. Adam Beck said MicroStrategy is greater than Microsoft. I agree with that. Richard Haas posted, check. We got a green light on MicroStrategy implied volatility at close as of 12/11. So implied volatility looks good. Up 1.3% from yesterday. That was good. And again, they did great yesterday. We're starting off a little down today, but I don't think that's a big deal at all. He said current IV is 22.4% below the 20-day moving average of 147, indicating volatility is trending lower. MSTR remains 84.9% more volatile than IBIT at 61.7. And again, the volatility is why the bond market wants this. Ben Workman did a video with Rajat, a certified accountant, and somebody who I really like, and I think you should follow. Follow Ben, follow Rajat. It was a great interview. I'm not going to go into all the details of it, but again, just basically letting people know. And there's about a 40-minute mark. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find what I'm looking for.
MicroStrategy.
Try and get more organized with these.
For 6 years, there might not even be anything in 2027. So that bit.
So he's talking about. Yeah, I'm going to go back just a hair.
When they're saying how risky this is.
So talking about the risk of Bitcoin and how risky it is, he tells you how risky it is. There is no risk with MicroStrategy and Bitcoin and all the bad things that people are talking about and worrying about anytime soon. And he talks about why that is. Let's listen.
That's essentially what you're looking at. You're looking at the leverage against the asset that they're holding, and they're baking in a lot of room for flexibility here.
So I have some I guess some pushback on that. I don't know, maybe I'm understanding this wrong, but you said during a bear market they can go back to the ATM, they can sell shares and buy more Bitcoin, increase the value of the Bitcoin that they have, because of course when they buy Bitcoin the price of Bitcoin goes up. Wouldn't their shares no longer, I mean, if Bitcoin drops significantly, if Bitcoin's price drops maybe 80s, 90%.
This is such a great answer.
I don't think it's going to happen, but let's say it does.
Listen.
Won't the NAV premium on their stock go down, meaning that
go down to 1 or
have
negative?
the same effect of, let's say, for example, when the premium is 3 times, so they're able to sell these shares that are basically worth 1 Bitcoin, and they're able to buy 3 Bitcoin and put it on their balance sheet. So they're basically like Michael Cero said, we're selling $1 bills for $3. Sure. When that NAV premium drops, let's say it drops down to, I don't know, during a bear market, it could drop below 1. Right? Would you say? I mean, I think that they would actually. I don't know. How would they sell more shares at the market to?
Well, if it goes below 1, they're not going to, right? So this is part of a managing on the way down, right? If you're talking depths of the bear market, I agree. Depths of the bear market, no, they're not going to be using the ATM if the NAV is anywhere near 1, right? It's got to be above 1 for that to continue to be accretive. If it goes below 1, they might look like, say they replace a lot of these bonds with 0%. They might still have cash flow that comes from the operating business. In the depths of a bear market, they might go back to traditional debt. Right? Yeah. If they've got strength of cash flow, that might be the tool that they go back to.
So yeah, they'll use the convertible bonds unless they go under a NAV of 1, and then they'll go back to traditional debt. But listen to what he has to say next. It's very important.
But it depends on where they're at on the risk, right? So say we go into a bear market, next year, which is supposed to be the bull market, but let's just say hypothetically for 2026 even. Let's say we go into a bear market in 2026 and Bitcoin draws down 80% and sits there for a year, right? What happens to MicroStrategy? Well, the share price goes down for sure, right? That's a given. If Bitcoin goes down, MicroStrategy is going down as well. That's just a reality. But nothing tragic happens because there's no convertible debt maturities in all of 2026. And if they have no coupon payments to make, they're just waiting. They're in a waiting period. So then you get to 2027. Well, those bonds are most likely going to convert. So there might not even be anything in 2027. So that Bitcoin price can stay down 80% for 2 years in a row and nothing happens, right? MicroStrategy doesn't go out of business. They're not getting margin called because there's no bank. They have no covenants on this debt. So it's not like you have a debt service coverage or a collateral requirement coverage. It's all unsecured. So they're just waiting. So your black swan event is that happens, but it happens for 6 years in a row, right? Where they've got to redeem all of
6. So listen to the time frames that he's talking about. How many years the price would have to be suppressed for Bitcoin, and that's a lot of years. That's more than any cycle we've ever seen in history. And again, that's assuming that we can't still go up and that they don't do a good job managing, their debt to asset allocation right now. And I don't know. These are great numbers.
These bonds for cash. And if they can't go borrow the cash from a bank to not sell Bitcoin and say, we're just going to borrow,
they're just not levered
right now, we're going to clear this convertible debt. And then when more favorable conditions come, we'll go reissue convertible debt and we'll clear the bank debt, the traditional debt out, right? They're going to be more strategic than people think. People think that there's just this immediate need to immediately liquidate Bitcoin and cause this spiraling effect, right? Which would be a concern if you had a big seller like MicroStrategy that had no options left but to sell all their Bitcoin into the market, right? That's a bad scenario. But up until then, if it happens with one of the bond offerings or even two of the bond offerings, there's other ways that they can engineer this to not have to sell the Bitcoin. It all depends on what that outlook is, right? If something is fundamentally broken with Bitcoin, if there's an exploit or something that happens, that's a whole different story.
That would break
Clearly.
everything.
But if it's just that we're in a bear market and therefore there's not a lot, they can't use the ATM because that premium has compressed, right? Now it's back down to around net asset value or maybe even below it. We've seen that before. But if that happens, they're going to look at other ways to do this. It could be that they roll the debt. Maybe if they've got cash flow, they can go issue a different fixed income product, right? That's not a convertible one. And they can just offer coupon payments for 5 years and they can clear out that debt. But if they can handle the cash flowing of paying those coupons, then they've effectively rolled that problem out 4 or 5 years, right? So you have to continue with that. They can go to the traditional fund.
I know this can be boring. But essentially what he's telling you is that even in a bear market, there's virtually nothing that MicroStrategy has to worry about. I think it's very important that you understand that. Outside of, there being a hack and a quantum computer, just things that are bullshit and that are very, very unlikely to happen. But could, 0.001%, whatever it is, I don't think it's high likelihood at all. Even if it's just 0.1%, I don't think it's high, and I don't think it's the bet you place. And there isn't a lot of insurance that's needed for it, I don't think. But this is a very bullish play. MicroStrategy is very safe, and there's a lot of money to be made in it. Please listen to people like this. If you want to make a lot of money in the future, do it. I did just buy some positions too, guys. I got NVIDIA, very small amount, just a starter position. I got SMCI, very small amount, starter position. I bought a little bit of AMD and I bought a little bit of Micron. I'm just trying to get myself more mentally focused on the chip sector and in regard to AI and the spin up of all these systems. And I want to put some money to it in order to be able to track it. So I have done that. And I did buy just a little bit of TLT, another 100 contracts on that, bringing myself up to 73,000. So I made some trades and some people too. And let me just get in here real quick. I'll just zoom this over because I know people were asking about some of these trades. And we can pull up AMD for a second. I do have to go soon though. But if we look over here, so we're down a little bit today. Don't care at all. Somebody was asking about CleanSpark, what my cost basis was. There's my cost basis. And they were saying, hey, maybe you could show these for the portfolio thing too. Yeah, I'll try and do that going forward. I'll be updating the portfolio on Saturday. That's the morning. I'm going to try and do it all the time. I'm just going to put it on my calendar and try and make that the day once a week where I update that. I'll see if I can do something where I expand this too on all the option plays to maybe make it a 2-part screenshot where you guys can see the cost basis and where I'm at on these positions too, along with portfolio allocation. Again, this is only my primary account, but it's a lot of the money. It's probably like 65%, something like that, of the money, maybe a little bit more, maybe closer to 70. So anyway, so I'll try and do that stuff going forward, but I did make those purchases. I wanted to make you aware of them. I'll post about them in a second. Real quickly, let's pull up AMD and look at that because I know people wanted to. And I'm just going to scan up here and look at where we're sitting. Still sitting pretty good. BitDeer taking the lead on the miners. HUT dropping a little bit to 8%. Not sure if the news was really worth it all, but the HPC play appears to be doing all right for some of these at least. Palantir up 2.3% and bouncing. Again, Palantir is one of those, technically it's overvalued, but again, what happens if the relationship with these guys is really, really good? The parabola could continue. I mean, the banana zone is really from 1.618 to 2.618 because it's like one full banana. This is a pretty good starter banana zone right here. But I don't know anymore, man. I just don't know. It depends on how far they get with Doge and if they start to really embed themselves with the federal government. It'll be interesting. Real quickly, though, let's look at AMD. We'll check some of these other chip stocks since I just bought them, too. So AMD, again, got pretty brutalized, fell hard, right? And let's just bring this up real quickly. AMD, almost flat on the day-to-day. But again, overshooting of the .618, looking to drop. This is really where we had peak volumes. I was saying that. And then Jake and Banana Stocks were talking about this one yesterday. I did agree with them, and so I went ahead and made a purchase. I'm currently sitting at 250 shares, $33,000 on AMD. But I'm liking this position. I think this is a bounce zone. I think it would be pretty easy to get back up to 172. And then, again, test back up to all-time highs again in the not-too-distant future. Seems like a pretty good play. I have no leverage behind it. The only reason is, guys, I'm trying to prepare for the latter half of whether there's second half downturn in the economy. I want to slowly be adding to my cash position, maybe getting to 20% cash and hedge by the end of Q1 of next year, maybe 25% if things get really crazy and I'm up $10 to $15 million by the end of Q1, beginning of Q2. Maybe I've got 25% in cash and hedging like bonds that can pay dividends and give me a pretty good return. Maybe it's a 50-50 between the cash and that. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Let's real quickly jump through some of these others. Let's look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA. So again, we're bouncing here, but this is like a wicked zone. It does, from a technical level, I mean, it looks like we should break down. This is trying to be support. We could maybe see more weakness in the chip sector. I talked about that a while ago. It seems to be playing out. Let me change this to green real quick. But maybe we see more weakness in the chip sector and we see some of these continue to roll over. I am looking to acquire more because I believe that the AI age is no joke. Excuse me. And I can see that NVIDIA, potentially AMD, but Supermicro and Micron being a part of that. And AMD, I wouldn't count them out. Again, they're very oversold. What were they at? Let's look real quickly here. What are all these down? So these guys were down 44%, or I'm sorry, 45% almost from their high. That's a big drop. I think that's an area of value. $211 billion market cap. If they bring out any new products that start to really compete and get it to where they can take some of those profits from NVIDIA, I think they'll be sitting a lot better. I don't know if they can, but if they do, it'll be interesting. And then NVIDIA, again, what is NVIDIA down real quick here? Let's just take a look. NVIDIA is down, or went down as far as 14%. So not nearly as much, but again, it's very strong play. Forward PE only in the 30 range. I think that is really good. I think NVIDIA is positioned very well going forward. Let's look over here real quickly with the others. Let's look at Micron. We haven't looked at this chart in a while. Excuse me. And again, just looking over here with Micron, this one got smacked really good. Again, it broke out above its trend line going back years. Support, resistances, this thing went back to 2017. It broke above it, and then it cascaded down. That's not crazy. The question is, do we bounce from here? And this thing has been as low as 46% from the high. I do think it's finding a bounce zone. I hate that my colors are off here. Bothers me seeing different colors. But I do think, again, lots of volume here, lots of volume down here, hitting the 81 level, and then even more at 70. There's just so much volume, and it's step laddered up. It's very healthy looking volume over a longer time frame. And I still think if we get a melt up here and all this stuff that we could double in Micron. They do dividends, so it's a slower play. Without leverage, it's a much slower play. But I do think I'm interested in Micron. I'm interested in NVIDIA, and I'm interested in AMD, and I'm interested in SMCI, and tracking them further, which is why I bought the positions. And SMCI, let's just take a look here. SMCI could be a very interesting one. Maybe the one I need to put the most money into, because again, I've got this theory about this being an inverse head and shoulder, and the measured move getting us to 136. Just in looking at this, it makes me want to own more. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy a little more. I'm going to buy a little more SMCI right now. But anyway, I think we'll have to do more tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll try and focus more on news-related events and charting. So tomorrow will be very much about getting through news fast and getting through charts fast and trying to do as much of that as possible in a short period of time. But I do think I'm going to mosey here, guys, and going to hang out with my nephew. Again, he's got about a week of free time before he's going to be locked in this house for 2 months. So I want to get him out there and enjoying life a little bit. So I hope you guys have a great day. Let's do it again tomorrow. I think today could be a good day, guys. Maybe it's just another day where we make more money. So let's do it. Let's get out there. I love you guys. You take it easy. And peace out. I probably should get to closing down the window. Peace out.